First pitch of the afternoon, a foul ball straight back. And a one-strike count on the leadoff hitter, Marvin Bedard. Bedard, the center fielder, hit .263 during the year with 12 homers and 55 runs batted in. Bedard so far in the series, one hit in 10 times at bat. Todd Zeal is playing first, Edgardo Alfonso at second. Mike Bordy gets short. Swing and a foul ball straight back, strike two. At third base, Robin Ventura. Yesterday's hero, Benny Agbayani, is in left field. Jay Payton in center. Around and right, the speedy Timo Perez. Now a two-strike count on Marvin Bedard. Bobby Jones, 11-6 on the year with a .506 earned run average. And a breaking ball, a big curveball in the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bobby Jones has to have that good curveball working to get the left-hand hitters out. And when his curveball is working, it's one of the very best. Jay Payton is playing over to right center against the leadoff batter, Marvin Bedard. Bobby's lifetime record against the Giants, 4 wins and 4 losses. The 1-2 pitch hit high in the air, a fly ball to left field. Moving for it, Benny Agbayani. Payton coming over. Payton calls and makes the catch. So 1 out and nobody on. Now the number 2 hitter will be Bill Miller.
Third baseman, number 32.
Miller, a switch hitting third baseman. Batted .268 during the year with 10 homers and 55 runs batted in. A better right-hand batter than left. Hitting .259 as a left-hand hitter this year. 1 out and nobody on. We are just underway. Beautiful day for a ball game. A little cool. You expect that this time of the year. Now the pitch. Curveball in the dirt. 1 ball and no strikes. And Barry Bonds waits on deck. Mets did a sensational job of holding Barry Bonds in check in yesterday's game. He went 0 for 5 with a couple of walks. Yesterday's game, 13 innings, 5 hours and 22 minutes long. And a fastball a little bit low, 2 balls and no strikes. The previous game was a 10-inning ball game. Mets have done well in extra inning ball games in postseason play. They've won 9 and lost 4. Now the 2-0 pitch down the middle for a call strike.
Well, the last 2 postseason home games the Mets have played, Game 5 last year against Atlanta, and then the game last night, 11 hours and 8 minutes for the 2 games combined.
Boy, isn't that amazing? 5 hours and 22 minutes yesterday. Fastball inside, ball 3. 3-1 on Bill Miller.
Well, they played the longest game in postseason history against the Braves in Game 5 last year, the longest game in division series history yesterday.
Bill Miller has 5 hits in the series. That's more than any Giant. Over at the knees for a call strike. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Sonny Jackson coaching at third. Robbie Thompson on the lines at first base for the 8-year veteran manager, Dusty Baker. Now the big crowd starts to build the roar. And the pitch. Ground ball right at Edgardo Alfonso. He looks it into his glove. Throws to first for the out. So 2 up and 2 set aside. And here comes Barry Bonds. Barry had 49 home runs during the course of the year. His best ever season for hitting home runs. Barry now has 494 home runs. He's been held pretty well in check so far. 3 for 13 in the series. Bobby Jones getting a sign for Mike Piazza. And a fastball outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Quality counts. The United Association of Plumbers, Pipe Fitters, and Sprinkler Fitters do the job right the first time. Visit their website at ua.org. Barry Bonds cocks the bat. The outfield pulled around to right. Strike call on the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. Bobby Jones does not overpower hitters. He has to finesse the hitters, and he needs good control to do it. He has been terrific the second half of the year. Finishing up 11-6. The 1-1 pitch just missed the inside corner. Tried to come inside and just missed it. Barry Bonds hit .306 during the season. 49 home runs and 106 runs batted in. The Giants had the best record in Major League Baseball. They won 97 games this year. Now the 2-1 pitch. Hit foul down the left field line. That'll wind up in the stands. No play. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
In the outfield, all the outfielders holding their gloves up next to their eyes. It's going to be a very tough day to catch a ball in the sun, at least for the first hour or so of this ballgame.
The stadium shadows have now covered the infield. The outfielders are all playing in a bright sunlight. 2-2 on Barry Bonds. Mets need a win so they won't have to go back to San Francisco. Now the pitch on the way. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Bobby Jones strikes out Barry Bonds. No runs, no hits, nobody left on. Middle of inning 1 at Shea. No score on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. In the last of inning number 1, leading off against right-hander Mark Gardner, will be Timo Perez, the speedy right fielder. Timo off to a fine start of the postseason with 4 hits and 13 times at bat. 38-year-old Mark Gardner. We first saw him when he was pitching for the Montreal Expos. 12-year veteran. This year 11-7 with a 4.05 ERA. He'll throw a fastball in the mid-80s and use a lot of breaking pitches. And the pitch thrown to Timo Perez is letter high for a strike call.
There was a time when Mark Gardner had one of the best curveballs in baseball. It's not as sharp as it used to be, but it's still his bread and butter, and he's got to have that curveball to be successful.
He certainly has helped the Giants a great deal this year, stepping in whenever somebody breaks down. Jammed him at a foul ball back into the stands and out of play. Well, as many of you know, tonight at sundown marks the beginning of Yom Kippur, the Jewish High Holy Day. As such, the late start of today's game has prevented many Jewish people here in New York from attending today's game. Indeed, Mets co-owner Fred Wilpon is not in attendance today. He's observing the holiday with his family. The foul ball straight back and out of play. Timo Perez has had a remarkable year. Got his release in Japan, started at the bottom of minor league baseball for the New York Mets, and winds up playing in the postseason with the big ball club. The 2-strike pitch. Curve is over, strike 3. He got him on 3 pitches. Mark Gardner knows how to pitch.
The second baseman, number 13.
Now the number 2 hitter is Edgardo Alfonso. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, contact your local Remax office. No one in the world sells more real estate than Remax. Edgardo Alfonso, 4 for 14, including a home run. Fastball over for a call strike. Fonzie had a marvelous year. Batting .324 with 25 home runs. Great clutch hitter. And the pitch on the way. Swung on high fly ball. Pretty deep to right field, but playable. Getting under it, Ellis Burks. Burks makes the catch. About a stride from the warning track. So 2 up and 2 cast aside. Now here comes Mike Piazza. Mike has 3 for 11 so far in the postseason. Piazza coming off a terrific year. 38 home runs for the New York Mets.
This is a pitcher that Mike has enjoyed hitting against. 6 for 16 against Gardner, including 3 career home runs.
Piazza would love to bust out and get one right now. Last of inning 1 at Shea Stadium. The windup by Mark Gardner. Here's the pitch. Fastball for a call strike on the outside corner. Mark Gardner knows how to pitch. He's been around a long time and still throws the ball well. His last 20 games, he won 10 and lost 5. Swinging a high foul fly down the right field line. That is headed toward the stands and out of play. So now Gardner has a 2-strike advantage on Mike Piazza. Yesterday, the Mets won it 2-1 or 3-2 in 13 innings on a walk-off dramatic home run by Benny Agbayani. Towering drive that was hit deep to left center field. Next pitch on the way. Oh, that just missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The plate umpire is Brian Gorbin. His dad, Tom Gorbin, umpired in the National League for over 20 years. Rocky Rowe at first, Mike DeMuro at second. Rick Reeker is at third. 1-2 on Mike Piazza. And the pitch on the way. Breaking ball way outside in the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Terry Kraft is the umpire down the left field line. And Jerry Crawford, the senior umpire who worked the plate yesterday, is on the right field line. 2-2 on Mike Piazza. No score, last half of inning number 1. Beautiful day for a ball game. What you would expect this time of the year. Temperature probably about 50 degrees. By the time the game is over 3 hours from now, hopefully, it'll probably be in the mid-40s.
3 hours? What, are you kidding?
That'll probably be the 5th inning.
A Mets postseason game at home?
2-2 delivery, breaking ball wide, ball 3. Yeah, you're right, probably.
I thought there was a 4.5-hour minimum.
That'll probably be the 6th inning, wouldn't it? Yesterday, the game started a little after 4 and was over at 9:30 last night. Full count, 3-2 on Mike Piazza. Now Mark Gardner winding. Ball 4 outside. Piazza has drawn another walk. They pitch so carefully to him. And it brings up Robin Ventura.
Number 4.
Robin with 1 hit and 12 at-bats so far in the postseason. Whoever hits behind Mike Piazza will certainly get their RBI opportunities. The base hits that Mike will get on the walks that he will draw. Edgardo Alfonso also draws a lot of walks. So now Mark Gardner, the 38-year-old right-hander, checking it out with his battery mate, Doug Mirabelli. And a high fly ball hit deep to right field. Way back it may go. Gone! Home run! A home run, Robin Ventura. Robin Ventura, a high drive deep to right field. Over the wall and under the scoreboard in right field. And the Mets have a 2-0 lead.
Well, the one thing that can get the opposition to throw strikes to Mike Piazza is for Robin Ventura to get hot. Robin, who played such a huge role for the Mets in the postseason last year, hit the grand slam single against the Atlanta Braves. That is his first official career postseason home run as a Met. He also hit 1 with the Chicago White Sox.
Ventura hit 24 during the regular season and had 84 runs batted in. So the Mets have the early lead, 2-0. Last night's hero, Benny Agbayani, is the batter. And Benny hits a high pop foul outside third. Looking for it is Bill Miller, the third baseman. He's under it, and he makes the catch. So Agbayani has fouled out to third. The inning is over. The Mets score 2 runs. 1 hit. 2-0 New York. A 2-run homer by Robin Ventura. Leading off in the second will be Jeff Kent. Bobby Jones retired the Giants 1-2-3 in the first inning.
Well, the Mets have needed either Robin Ventura or Todd Seal to break out of what has been a postseason slump following long slumps in the regular season. Well, that drive by Robin Ventura goes a long way toward giving the Mets offense a boost.
Robin Ventura was 1 for 12 when he belted that home run. So now here's Jeff Kent, a terrific hitter standing in. And Jeff off to a good series with 5 hits in 13 times at bat. The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by Chase Manhattan Bank. The right relationship is everything. So Jeff Kent standing in against his old teammate, Bobby Jones. Fastball for a call, strike 1. The Yankees and the A's will play tonight in Oakland. And Andy Pettit pitching on 3 days rest for the Yankees. Gil Heredia, who pitched very well his first time out, will pitch the game for Oakland. The winner goes on to the League Championship Series. Hit hard to the ground, but right at the second baseman. Alfonso with it. Throws to Zeal, 1 down.
Well, the Mets have been playing their defense swung around toward the left against every right-hand batter in the Giants lineup throughout this series, and it really paid off there. Alfonso just to the right of second base to snare that ground ball.
Yeah, the ground ball was hit right at him. That was perfect. Now here's Ellis Burks, batted .344 during the regular season. This is a real veteran who knows how to hit. Burks is 3 for 10 so far in the postseason. And the pitch by Bobby Jones, a little bit high, 1 ball and no strikes. Mets would love to win this game and advance to the league championship series, playing the Cardinals on Wednesday night. Hit foul down the left field line. Look out. Sonny Jackson, the third base coach, had to duck to get away from that.
What a great play by a fan in the front row. Like about 15 years old, brought his glove and caught that sizzler. What a play.
Boy, it pays to have a glove on one like that. He wouldn't have a chance otherwise. 1 ball, 1 strike to count on Ellis Burks. Fastball moves him off the plate a little bit inside. 2 balls and a strike. Again, Fonzie is shaded toward the middle of the infield. And Mike Bordick astride toward the hole on the left side of the diamond. Mets have won the last 2 games, both extra inning ball games. Giants won the opening game of the series. Inside, 3 balls and a strike. And if we have a game 5, it will be Mike Hampton pitching against Levon Hernandez. Levon Hernandez is 5-0 in postseason. 3-1 pitch. Grounded foul down the third baseline, no play.
The Hernandez brothers between them are now 11-0 in postseason.
Boy, they like to pitch in the postseason, don't they?
Well, their experience in Cuba has obviously paid off. They played a lot of big games before they defected, and they have been magnificent in October baseball.
Full count, 3-2 on Ellis Burks. Bobby Jones picking up the information from Mike Piazza. And a smash to short. Backhand pickup by Bordick. Lone throw, got him. 2 men down. Nice pick by Mike Bordick. He had to spin around and make the backhand pick, and he made it beautifully.
And again, the Mets' defensive positioning just right against these pull-hitting right-hand batters for the Giants. Bordick a couple of steps toward the hole. Otherwise, that ball would have been right on through.
Check out www.mets.com for the best selection of Mets playoff merchandise. They've got the official Clubhouse Wildcard T-shirt and the official Clubhouse Wildcard cap from New Era. Bluffing at a bunt, JT Snow. The pitch is over, strike 1. Also in the online store this week is the official Black Hooded 2000 playoff sweatshirt by Majesty. Get the gear the players wear today at www.mets.com. Pitch to Snow. Misses the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. Mets took a 2-0 lead on a Robin Ventura 2-run homer. .30-year-old Bobby Jones. Now Bobby into his full windup, and the pitch on the way. That is off the outside corner, 2-1. Bobby Jones getting his first ever playoff start. Of course, last year was the first year they had been in the playoffs since Bobby joined the rotation. Outside and high, ball 3, 3-1. Here's the windup and the 3-1 pitch. Hit hard. Caught by Todd Zeal. Sizzling line drive. Caught by Todd Zeal, and the inning is over. Oh, that ball was really hit hard. No runs, no hits, and nobody left. Middle of the second at Shea. The Mets 2 and the Giants nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. The New York Mets will have Jay Payton, Todd Zeal, and Mike Bordick coming up against the veteran right-hander Mark Gardner. Tomorrow in Newsday, extra coverage of the Mets and Yank playoff action. Plus, every Monday, read the business report for the most up-to-date information affecting your business. Pick up Newsday tomorrow.
The center fielder, number 44.
The Mets won Game 10, Game 2 in 10 innings. It was Jay Payton who singled hard to center field to drive home Darrell Hamilton with the winning run. Payton with 2 for 13 so far in the series. Jay had an outstanding rookie season. And the pitch thrown by the right-hander Gardner is over for a call strike. Jay hit .291 with 17 homers and 62 runs batted in. Center fielder Marvin Bernard playing a couple of strides to right center. He's out of that bright sunshine in center field. Outside and low on a curveball, 1 ball, 1 strike. The entire infield is covered by stadium shadows, but the outfield still has a lot of very bright and tough to play sunshine. Mark Gardner with a count of 1 ball, 1 strike. Ground ball back to the mound, grabbed by Gardner. He'll throw to first. That retires Jay Payton. So 1 out and nobody on.
The first baseman,
Todd Zeal, hoping to duplicate Robin Ventura's performance and break out of a slump by hitting a long ball. Todd Zeal can hit a long ball. And like Ventura, he's a veteran player who knows how to play this game. Hit 22 home runs, 79 RBIs during the year. Todd batted .268. The pitch by Mark Gardner, ground ball hit toward third, grabbed by Bill Miller. Here's the off-balance throw, in time to get the out. So 2 outs and nobody on in the Mets second. And the hitter will be the shortstop, Mike Bordick. Bordick had a great start with the Baltimore Orioles this year. Had a sizzling month of April, driving in 29 runs. Later was to be acquired by the New York Mets. They lost their shortstop, Ray Ordonez, for the year with a broken forearm. Ordonez is here in uniform and watching the game from the dugout. Now Bordick standing in against Mark Gardner. Gardner 11-7 for the year. Fastball low outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Both Bobby Jones and Mark Gardner are from Fresno, California. Fastball outside, 2 balls and no strikes. They staged a golf tournament during the offseason to help charity. And if we have a Game 5 tomorrow in San Francisco, Mike Hampton will pitch against Levon Hernandez. The 2-0 pitch, ground ball past the middle towards the second, fielded by the shortstop Aurelia, thrown to first in time for the out. And the Mets are down 1-2-3 in their half of the second. No runs, no hits, nobody left on after 2 innings. The Mets 2 and the Giants nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. We go to the 3rd inning. Rich Aurelia will be up for San Francisco. And up to tell you all about it, Gary Cohen.
Okay, thanks very much, Bob. Bobby Jones has retired the first 6 Giants to face him. He didn't exactly fool anybody in the second inning as Kent, Burks, and Snow all hit the ball hard, but all right at Met infielders. They were all positioned correctly, and credit for that has to go at least in part to the folks who advanced scouted the Giants for this series. The Mets' regular advanced scout, Bruce Benedict, plus Harry Minor and Bobby Minor, who worked the California section of the country for the Mets in the scouting department. They all put together a huge volume on the Giants' tendencies, and you'd certainly have to say it paid off in that second inning. Rich Aurelia leads off in the 3rd for the Giants. Jones working with a 2-0 lead. Aurelia 2 for 12 in the series so far. Right-hand batter standing in. And Jones delivers. Fastball missing high. 1 ball and no strikes. Rich Aurelia made a bid for a home run in the game yesterday. In the 6th inning against Rick Reed, he sent Benny Agbayani right up against the left field fence. The 1-0 pitch and a high fly ball foul off to the left out of play, 1-1. Agbayani made a nice play, plastering himself up against the advertising signs on that left field wall to make sure Aurelia didn't get an extra base hit. Rich Aurelia has got a lot of family and friends in the ballpark. He grew up in Brooklyn, went to Xaverian High School, and played his college baseball at St. John's. 1-1 to Aurelia, 2-0 New York. We're in the 3rd. Robin Ventura's 2-run homer in the 1st inning is the only hit of this game so far. Still a lot of bright sunshine, and the center fielder Payton, the only man standing in that sun. Everybody else in shadow right now. Not an easy time of day for the hitters to be batting. You've got the glare coming off that batter's eye in center field. Once the shadows clear the outfield, it'll be a lot easier to hit. 1-1 to Aurelia, taken high, 2 balls and a strike. It's not as difficult here at twilight at Shea Stadium as it is at Pac Bell Park. For some reason, when they built Pac-Bell Park, about the only thing they did wrong is that they put the big scoreboard in center field, and that scoreboard produces a lot of glare. In most ballparks, they put the big scoreboard either in left or in right. 2-1 pitch and a pop-up foul coming back out of play, 2-2. And the reason for that is exactly that it does affect the hitters. You don't want that scoreboard staring them in the face, particularly at twilight with the ball coming out of the pitcher's hand and the glare bouncing off the scoreboard. But because of the unusual configuration of Pac-Bell Park set right against the bay, that was the only place they felt they could put it. 2-2 the count to Aurelia with Doug Mirabelli standing on deck. Peyton shaded a step or two toward right center. The infield straight up. 2-2 pitch. Pop foul back this way and out of play. And it holds 2-2 on Rich Aurelia, the Giants shortstop. Aurelia with 20 home runs for the second straight season. And Jeff Kent and Rich Aurelia are the first double play combination in history to go back-to-back seasons with both the second baseman and shortstop hitting 20 or more home runs. Only one other double play combination did it in any 2 seasons, and that was the combination of Bobby Dorr and Vern Stevens for the Red Sox back in 1948 and 50. 2-2 pitch, curveball, popped it up on the infield. Coming in from first base, Zeal toward home plate. He's under it. Zeal makes the catch, and there's the first out in the third. Great curveball by Bobby Jones, and he got Aurelia to lunge at it and pop it up. So Jones has set down the first 7. 1 out and nobody on. And here comes the catcher, Doug Mirabelli. Bobby Estalella started the first 3 games of the series. Estalella considered the better hitting catcher, but he went just 1 for 12. And so Mirabelli getting the call in this game. He's considered the better defensive catcher. Mirabelli got in the game late yesterday and was 0 for 1. Right-hand batter Doug Mirabelli, 29 years of age. And the pitch by Jones, fastball taken for a call, strike, 0-1. Mirabelli's been in the Giants farm system forever. Came up for cups of coffee the last 4 or 5 years, but this was the first season that he stayed on the roster all year long, sharing time behind the plate with Estalella. The 0-1 pitch, up and in with a fastball, 1 ball and 1 strike. Mark Gardner, not a particularly good hitting pitcher, is standing on deck. The lights are on here at Shea, but the lights have yet to take effect. There are some clouds around, but the sunshine has predominated right from the start of the game. 2-0 New York. We're in the top of the third. Jones blowing on his hand as he stands on the rubber. Pitcher has given that permission today. The pitch, knee-high fastball for a strike, 1-2. And Jones has been very sharp with his location so far in this game. Bobby Jones has to be absolutely precise. Inside corner, outside corner, keep the ball down at the knees. And if he can locate that fastball, he can be a winning pitcher. 1-2 pitch on the outside corner. Strike three call. Mirabelli down looking. And Bobby Jones has his second strikeout. And he's off to a scintillating start. Jones has retired the first 8 in a row. And it brings up the pitcher, Mark Gardner. Gardner had just 5 hits this year. 5 for 43. That's a $1.16. Board with the Boardwalk, escape to the natural splendor of Foxwoods Resort Casino. It's closer to New York than Atlantic City. Call 1-800-PLAY-BIG for directions. Gardner, a right-hand batter, standing in against his Fresno chum Bobby Jones, and he fouls the first pitch back 0-1. Both these pitchers were born in Fresno, both went to high school in Fresno, and both went to college at Fresno State. So they are through and through products of the raisin capital of the world. And both grew up as fans of the San Francisco Giants. Bobby's always pitched very well against the Giants. The 0-1 pitch, fastball missing high, 1-1. And there aren't too many players who express fondness for Candlestick Park, but Bobby Jones always loved to pitch at Candlestick, and he pitched some terrific games out there in the wind and the cold. 1-1 the count to Gardner. Now the pitch, fastball, knee-high for a strike, 1-2.
Tom Seaver grew up in Fresno, and Tom's dad, a Walker Cup golfer, was in the raisin business, so they really know that business.
Now the 1-2 pitch to Gardner. Curveball, swing, and a miss. He got him. Or did he? Piazza took it out of the dirt, put a tag on Gardner, and the inning is over. Gardner questioning the call with the home plate umpire. Piazza wasn't sure at all if it was strike 3, but it was. And the inning is over. Jones has retired the first 9 without a base runner. 0 across, middle of the third at Shea. Mets 2, Giants 0 on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. Very odd-looking finish to the top of the third inning. Mark Gardner swinging at a curveball from Bobby Jones. The ball went straight down as he made the swing, and the way Mike Piazza reacted, Mike obviously thought the ball had been fouled because he made no attempt to pick it up up and tag out Gardner until he looked behind him, and the umpire wasn't giving him a new baseball, and then he went and tagged Gardner. Gardner argued briefly that he had fouled the ball off, but I guess he figured he wasn't going to get a hit anyway, so might as well go back to the mound and try and get the job done from there. And now he'll face his counterpart, Bobby Jones, leading off in the bottom of the third. And Bobby's had a miserable year with the bat, 2 for 44. And the pitch up and away, 1 ball and no strikes. There's been only 1 hit in this game, and it was a huge one. Robin Ventura homering off the advertising signs at the bottom of the right field scoreboard. Fastball knee-high for a strike, 1-1. It came after a walk to Piazza in a bat in which Gardner pitched very carefully. He was ahead of the count on Mike, and then gave him the walk on a 3-2 pitch. Ventura homered on the next pitch. Swing and a miss by Jones, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And that has been it as far as base runners are concerned for the Mets. The Giants, meanwhile, haven't had a single base runner through the first 3 innings, and you wonder whether the tension and the emotion of last night may have taken a lot out of both of these teams at the start of this game. Fastball in there for a call, strike 3, and Bobby Jones is down looking. Second strikeout for Mark Gardner. 1 out and nobody on, and here's Timo Perez. And you can feel it from the crowd, too. There's not nearly the emotion and the excitement of the crowd that there was last night. Spent 5 hours and 22 minutes in the ballpark, most of it standing on your feet, as most of this crowd was last night. And it's a little hard to get revved up the next day, and it may be the same with these ball clubs, at least at the start of the game.
But the game was finally over yesterday. After 5 hours and 22 minutes, a lot of the crowd did not want to leave. They just stood around savoring the victory.
They were stamping and cheering and chanting Benny. It was Benny land last night. Here's Timo Perez, the pitch, and a high pop-up on the right side. Easy play for J.T. Snow right near the bag in foul ground, and Snow makes the grab. And that retires Perez, and quickly there are 2 men down. So Gardner's retired 6 in a row since the Ventura home run. And now Edgardo Alfonzo will come up.
Number 13.
It's a commitment to quality that wins games, a determination to do things right. At Amoco, that's our focus too. No matter which team you're on, we'll give you the very best. Alfonzo had a deep fly ball to right field that was caught by Ellis Burks in the opening inning. It was Alfonzo who drove home the tying run in the 8th inning last night against Rob Nen to make the Mets win possible. Curveball in for a call, strike, 0-1. For Rob Nen, it was the first time he had blown a save since the 2nd of July. He had finished the season with 28 consecutive saves converted. Here's the 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss, 0-2. The interesting thing about it is that the July 2nd game, which represented his last save, was also the last time that Nen had been brought into a game in the 8th inning by Dusty Baker. Came in the 8th last night. Sure enough, first man up, Alfonzo gets the double to tie up the game. The 0-2 pitch, curveball outside, 1-2. But it's also so typical of Alfonzo. He gets a big hit, does a big thing in a ball game, and it immediately gets overshadowed by something else. In this case, Agbayani's game-winning home run.
That doesn't seem to bother Edgardo.
The 1-2 from Gardner. Checks his swing. He went around, strike 3. Alfonso retired. Third strikeout for Gardner. He's retired 7 in a row. And the Mets are down in the third. 0 across. 3 in the books at Shea. Mets 2, Giants 0 on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Sports Radio 66 WFAN.
Through 3 innings, the Giants, no runs, no hits, and no errors. The Mets, 2 runs, 1 hit, and no errors. There's not been a single error committed in this series yet. 3 innings into game number 4. Top of the batting order for the Giants in the 4th inning. Marvin Bernard will lead off against Bobby Jones, who's pitched perfectly through the first 3 innings, striking out 3 of the 9. Bernard now 1 for 11 in the series, flied out to center field his first time up. The Giants as a team over the first 3 games hit a combined 246. Not great, but better than the Mets. The Mets over the first 3 games hit just 214, and yet they have the series lead. Pitch to Bernard, curveball bunted out in front of the plate, grabbed by Piazza, fires to first in time. Nice play by Piazza. He pounced on that bunt by Marvin Bernard. It only got about 5 feet up the third baseline, and Mike easily threw out Marvin Bernard. That's 10 in a row retired by Jones from the start of the game. And Bill Miller will be the hitter. The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by buyandhold.com. Invest for the long term because trading can be hazardous to your wealth. Only one other game, and that's later on, game number 5, the Yankees and the A's on short rest. Short rest indeed. They played till about, after 11 o'clock last night. Here's the pitch to Bill Miller, taken outside 1-0. They can't have taken off before, say, 1:30 this morning. So they landed 7:30 Eastern time, and 12 hours later they'll be on the field and battling for their playoff lives. Andy Pettit against Gil Heredia tonight at the Oakland Coliseum. The 1-0 to Miller, call strike on the outside corner, 1-1. The Mets face a similar scenario if they lose today, but they would have 4 hours more to get out there and get some rest, because this game is starting at 4 o'clock rather than 8 o'clock. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Miller on the way. Fastball misses inside, 2-1.
They'll be going on adrenaline almost altogether.
Not only that, but here it is Sunday night, and if the Yankees win, they fly right back to New York to open the League Championship Series Tuesday night. Taken low by Miller, 3 balls and a strike.
Yeah, that's true. The Mets will not play until Wednesday night if they can win.
And of course, the Mets wouldn't have to fly all the way back to New York. They'd only have to go halfway back to St. Louis to open the National League Championship Series Wednesday. 3-1 to Miller on the outside corner, a strike, 3-2. If the Giants somehow come back and win this series, they would host Game 1 of the League Championship Series Wednesday because they have the best record in the National League. Here's the 3-2 to Miller, swinging a foul straight back, still 3-2. The first 2 games of the National League Championship Series, if the Mets are in it, would be played in St. Louis Wednesday night and Thursday night. Then they would return to Shea for 3 games next Saturday afternoon at 4, and then night games next Sunday and Monday. Games 3, 4, and 5 of the series would be here at Shea. 3-2 to Miller with 1 out and nobody on. Jones kicks out of the windup. Here's the payoff pitch. Pulled on the ground down to first. Zeal down to his knees. He's got it. He'll run it to the bag himself in time. Good-looking play by Todd Zeal on a sharply hit ground ball. He moved to his right, went down briefly to get it, and then scrambled back up and ran to the bag ahead of Miller for the second out.
Todd Zeal became a pretty good fielding first baseman this year after playing elsewhere all those years.
11 in a row set down by Bobby Jones, and now Barry Bonds will be the batter. Bonds was struck out his first time up. Barry now just 3 for 14 in the series. His lifetime career average in the postseason just a shade over 200. And that's been talked about a lot. The pitch by Jones taken low. What has not been raised nearly as often is the fact that Barry Bonds, who has 494 career home runs, has hit exactly 1 career postseason home run in 94 at-bats. The infield swung around to the right against Bonds. The 1-0 pitch, swing and a miss, and a good changeup by Jones. He had him fishing for that. 1 ball and 1 strike. In the regular season in his career, Bonds has averaged a home run every 15.1 at-bats. But in the postseason, 1 every 94 at-bats. So that's been the biggest failing on Bonds' part. He is a feared power hitter who's not hit for power. Missing inside, 2-1. And Bonds hates the questions, and Dusty Baker tries to protect him on it. But the fact of the matter is that Bonds' postseason career goes all the way back to 1990 with the Pirates. Pirates came up short 3 years in a row in the League Championship Series. The 2-1 pitch on the outside corner, a strike, 2-2. Barry got a lot of the heat for that. So did Bobby Bonilla. They were the stars of that Pirate team. Now the crowd all on its feet, hoping that Jones can strike out Bonds yet again. 2 out and nobody on. Jones to the windup. 2-2 to Bonds. On the inside corner, strike 3 called. Bonds goes down looking. The 3rd consecutive time that Bonds has been struck out. Bobby Jones has retired the first 12 batters to face him. Nothing across, middle of the 4th. Mets 2, Giants nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. Home 4th inning. There's been only 1 hit in this game. Robin Ventura's 2-run homer in the first inning. And that has provided all the scoring. The Mets with a 2-0 lead. Mike Piazza will lead off the home 4th. Before he does, we'll pause for station identification on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
The Jets suffer their first loss to the Steelers 20-3. The Giants lead the Falcons 10-0 in the second. Stay tuned for the Yanks and A's next on WFAN New York.
Gary Cohen, Bob Murphy with you from Shea Stadium in New York. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Mets 2, Giants nothing. The 2 starters from Fresno, Bobby Jones and Mark Gardner, Two soft-tossing right-handers have been terrific so far. The pitch to Piazza on the outside corner, a strike, 0-1. Mike fell behind in the count and then worked out a walk in the first inning, and Ventura homered on the next pitch. Those have been the only base runners in this game. The 0-1 curveball, swing and a miss, and Gardner gets out in front, 0-2. A lot of people expected this to be a high-scoring slugfest today, with the number 4 starters going to the mound. It has been anything but so far. Bobby Jones has been perfect, and Gardner's been almost as good. The outfield is stride to right against Piazza. The 0-2 pitch. Curveball low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mike 3 for 11 in this series, and he's drawn 4 walks. In the outfield, Marvin Bernard still standing in a strip of sunlight. Otherwise, the sun has just about cleared the playing field. Here's the wind by Gardner, 1-2 pitch, and a high fly ball hit to right center field, moving over Bernard with Burks. Burks will make the call near the edge of the track. He makes the catch, and that retires Piazza for the first out. So 8 in a row set down by Mark Gardner. He's really settled in nicely, and here's Robin Ventura, who's had the only swing that has mattered so far in this game. Robin hit his second career postseason home run off the advertising signs at the bottom of the right field scoreboard in the first inning. Robin's other official postseason home run came with the White Sox in '93. Curveball taken low, 1-0. The White Sox won the American League West that year, played Oakland in the League Championship Series, and Ventura hit a home run before the White Sox were eliminated. The 1-0 pitch, low and inside, 2-0. He hit a home run that didn't count as a home run in the League Championship Series last year. That was the now famous Grand Slam single, where Todd Pratt impeded Robin's progress after he hit it over the fence. The 2-0 pitch in the dirt, 3 balls and no strikes, and an odd scenario presented itself yesterday when Todd Pratt came to bat in the game. Pratt was up as a pinch hitter in the 11th inning with the bases loaded and 2 out, and Robin Ventura was on second base, and you could see a scenario where Pratt would hit a game-winning grand slam, and Ventura would tackle him before he got to second base. Probably would have gone down just that way. 3-0 pitch is high, ball 4, and Ventura is on with a walk. So Gardner pitching carefully to Ventura after giving up the home run the last time. So after 8 in a row had been set down, Ventura breaks the string with a walk, and the cheers are for Benny Agbayani. Benny has always been a crowd favorite here at Shea Stadium. He will always be even more of a crowd favorite now. Off what happened last night, put himself in that pantheon of Mets postseason heroes.
He's such a terrific individual, and I think the public realizes that.
And it's also, I think, his everyman quality. I mean, here's a pudgy guy who doesn't really look like a ball player making good. And a curveball in for a strike, a guy who had to struggle for years in the minor leagues against the tag of being a non-prospect. A guy who went so far as to be a replacement player in the 1995 spring training, and it was never considered to be a guy who would blossom at the major league level, but he has. The 0-1 pitch hit hard over third, a foul ball. Then he barely missed an extra base hit, 0-2.
To Bobby Valentine's credit, Bobby has always been in Benny Agbayani's corner and encouraged him to stay with it and do well.
Without question. And when Benny came up last year and hit 10 home runs in his first 73 at-bats, the least surprised person was Bobby Valentine.
Bobby also brought up Rick Reed from AAA Norfolk. He believed that Reed could be successful, and he certainly has been.
Ventura on first with 1 out. Gardner now ahead on Benny, 0-2. The pitch, up and away with a fastball, 1-2. Here's a situation that Benny has really thrived on this year. Times when he's gotten behind in the count, he has not been over anxious. He's been able to look at pitches out of the strike zone, work deep counts, and he's drawn a lot of walks this year, and it made Benny a very effective leadoff hitter for much of the season. His on-base percentage for the year was not too far under 400. The 1-2 to Agbayani. Swinging a line drive, base hit into center field. Ventura goes to second and stops there. Bernard bobbles it briefly, but no further advance, and so Agbayani, after hitting a bullet foul a moment ago, lines a single to center field. Benny's 4th hit in 13 at-bats in the series, so he's done well. Now with 2 aboard and 1 out, the Mets looking to expand on their 2-0 lead. And Jay Payton will come to the plate. That's only the second hit of the game. Ventura had a 2-run homer in the first inning. And now Agbayani a 1-out single here in the fourth. Meanwhile, the Giants have yet to have a base runner against Bobby Jones. Jay Payton bounced one back to the mound his first time up. Jay has just 2 hits and 14 at-bats in the series, but one of the hits was the game winner in game number 2 in the 10th inning against Felix Rodriguez. Ventura, a slow runner at second. Agbayani, not a bad runner at first. The pitch coming to Payton. Fastball, letter high for a strike, 0-1. Todd Zeal waits on deck. Mark Gardner rubbing up the baseball, standing to the right side of the rubber, taking a glance back at Ventura at second. This could be a big moment in this ballgame if the Mets can expand on this 2-0 lead. Kent and Aurelia set a double play depth. Payton with the bat straight up and down, held out over the plate. Now Mirabelli flashes a sign. Gardner deals the 0-1, and he misses high with a fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike. They get Gardner's fastball anywhere from 83 to 86 miles an hour. Very much the same vicinity that Bobby Jones occupies. They both have a good curveball, but they're different curveballs. Gardner more of a sharp breaker, where Bobby Jones has that big looping curveball that seems to fall from the sky. The outfield is stride toward right against Payton. Gardner's 1-1 pitch, curveball, tries to hold the swing, but he went around. Payton fooled badly on a curveball that was well out of the strike zone. And now Gardner out in front on Payton 1-2, and Jay puts his hands on his hips. He's rather upset with himself as he looks down with Takuki Rojas to see what might be on here. Temperature around 50 degrees. Weather that generally favors the pitchers. They can stay strong on a day like this. You hate to face a hard thrower on a day like this. These are not hard throwers. 1-2 pitch, curveball, swinging a foul back. He barely got a piece of that off the end of the bat. Payton had a classic at bat in the game yesterday in the 11th inning with the Mets threatening to win. Payton came up against Felix Rodriguez. A 10-pitch at bat, a sequence in which Payton broke 3 different bats before finally striking out on a pitch up over his head. Felix Rodriguez had a magnificent comeback in that 11th inning, gave up back-to-back hits. Mets wound up loading the bases, and after 36 pitches, he finally got through the inning. And a classic gutsy performance by the Giants reliever. 1-2 the count to Payton with 2 aboard and 1 out. The pitch inside as he leans back out of the way. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Gary, you have to feel the Mets must score some more runs in this game. With Dusty Baker really competent in his ball club. He has a ball club that can hit and hit well.
I'll tell you what, though, they look very, very flat here today. They have done nothing so far against Bobby Jones, and they don't look sharp at all. Now, that could change as the game goes along, but so far, they do not look into it.
13-inning game might have taken something out of them.
2-2 the count to Payton. Runners lead first and second. Gardner delivers. Fastball on the inside corner. Strike 3 call. Payton goes down looking, and there's the second out of the inning. 4 strikeouts now for Mark Gardner. 2 out and 2 on, and Todd Zeal will come up. Today's game is brought to you by OurHouse.com. They can tell you what sort of wood to use, how to keep the grass green, and how to construct a sturdy fence. In case you're thinking of starting a ball club of your own. OurHouse.com. Everything your house desires. Zeal grounded out to third base his first trip, swinging at the first pitch. Now just 1 for 12 in this series. This is a pitcher Zeal has hit well over his career. He's had 40 at-bats against Mark Gardner, hitting 400 against him. The pitch to Zeal, fastball down the middle for a strike, 0-1. Mark Gardner spent 4 years with Montreal, brief times in Kansas City and Florida, before surfacing with the Giants in 1996. Now in his 5th year with San Francisco, and he's been a very useful part of their pitching staff for most of that time. Had a rough season last year and was almost left out of the plans this year. The 0-1 to Zeal. Hit on the ground sharply toward the middle. Kent backhands with a diving stop. Off balance throw to first, and he got him. Terrific play by Jeff Kent to save a run. A ball headed toward the middle. did well just to keep it on the infield with a diving stop, but then got up and made an off-balance throw in time to get the slow-footed seal at first, and the inning is over. No runs, a base hit, and 2 men left. 4 in the books at Shea in Game 4. It's the Mets 2, the Giants nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. There was so much conversation before this series began about what the Mets would do as far as a Game 4 starter is concerned. Would they use Blendon Rush? Would they bring Mike Hampton back on 3 days rest? Well, Bobby Valentine's answer was to go with the veteran Bobby Jones for his first postseason start in his career. And so far, Bob Murphy, that decision is going very, very nicely.
Yeah, so far Bobby is pitching absolutely perfect baseball. You would love to see the veteran Bobby Jones, who's been a lot to the New York Mets over the last 6 years, put together a tremendous ball game. Jeff Kent leads off as we go to the 5th inning. Bobby has retired 12 in a row. Kent grounded out his first time at bat. So it's Jeff Kent, Ellis Burks, and J.T. Snow in the 5th inning. Giants as a team have a .278 batting average. Now the windup and the pitch by Bobby. Slider low outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Only 2 hits in the game. The Mets have both. The home run by Robin Ventura. Bobby Jones checking it out with Mike Piazza. Ground ball hit toward third, a foul ball, no play. Handled in foul territory by Robin Ventura. Vinny Agbayani has the other hit, a single to center.
What Jones has done so well in this game is pitch low in the strike zone. When he's come up and out of the strike zone to try and strike people out. But when he's in the strike zone, he's down, and that's why only 1 ball so far has been hit out of the infield by the Giants.
And he's had a good curveball against the left-hand hitters. 1 ball, 1 strike on Jeff Kent. Jeff hit at .334 during the regular season. Right-hand powerhouse of a hitter. High fly ball deep to left. Will it stay fair? It's right down the line, and it is a foul ball. A foul ball at the last moment. Off the wall in left field. Boy, that was fair for about 80% of the trip down to the foul pole, and then it turned foul at the last moment.
It cleared the front wall, so it had home run distance, hit off that back padding, maybe a foot or 2 outside the pole.
What a shot that was by Jeff Kent. So it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, it hit high, pretty high against the wall. Certainly had the home run distance. But it turned out to be foul at the last moment. Now Bobby Jones with a count of 1 and 2 on Jeff Kent. Bobby has retired 12 in a row. Jay Payton playing a stride to left center. The 1-2 pitch. Line drive, base hit down the left field line for Jeff Kent. Chasing it into the corner, Vinny Agbayani. Kent is on his way to second. Takes the turn at second, now holds up. So a double to left by Jeff Kent. After just missing a home run, he rips a line drive double down the left field line. So there's the first hit by the Giants. That probably will spark the Giants. As Gary mentioned, they had looked kind of dead so far today. But a base hit like that can really spark a team. Now Ellis Burks, the number 5 hitter, and a very strong hitter, will be standing in against Bobby Jones. So the Mets 2-0 lead somewhat in jeopardy as the Giants bat here in the 5th inning. Now Bobby, having given up his first hit of the afternoon, looks in to check it out with Mike Piazza. Blows on his pitching hand. And the pitch. Over for a call, strike 1. Jeff Kent, 4 years in a row for the Giants, has had over 100 runs batted in. He has become one of the real premium hitters in the National League. Again, Bobby Jones blowing on his pitching hand, trying to get those fingers good and warm. And Piazza sets up a target. Now the pitch on the way. Swinging a high fly, well hit to right. Back goes Perez, warning track. Makes the catch. Caught it on the warning track. Kent tags up. Kent goes to third after the catch is made. Oh, wow, that was well hit by Ellis Burks. Now the Giants have a runner on third with 1 away. And their first baseman, a left-hand hitter, J.T. Snow, is coming to bat. Snow has 4 for 9 so far in the series. Going to be difficult right here to keep the Giants off the scoreboard. A runner on third with only 1 away. The infield is back deep. J.T. Snow hit a blistering line drive that was caught. Inside low, 1 ball and no strikes, a hard slider. He had a line drive that Taziel caught in his first time up in the second inning. And it was scorched. 1 ball, no strikes on J.T. Snow. The pitch by Bobby Jones. Curveball that is low. 2 balls and no strikes.
Nice block by Piazza on that ball in the dirt.
He made a beautiful block on the ball yesterday, too, in the dirt.
I'll tell you what, Mike may not have the best throwing numbers of any catcher, but he does those other things well. He blocks balls in the dirt, and he probably blocks home plate as well as any catcher in the league.
Yeah, I don't know of anybody that can block the plate any better than Mike Piazza. Let's have the infield way back against J.T. Snow. So on a ground ball, Jeff Kent would score a run. 2 balls and no strikes. Now the pitch. Outside, ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes. And Rich Aurelia is the on-deck hitter. Aurelia has power. He had 20 home runs this year. J.T. Snow is a terrific fielder and not a bad hitter at all. He's the Gold Glove guy around first base in the National League now. John Olerud was certainly one of the best the 3 years he played for the New York Mets.
Well, the Mets have been blessed with some great fielding first basemen. Obviously, Keith Hernandez, maybe the best of all time, but even more recently, David Segui, Rico Bronya, John Olerud, all front-line defensive first basemen.
Yeah, I think Keith Hernandez might be the equal to any first baseman who ever played the game. 3-0 is the count on J.T. Snow. Down the middle for a call strike. He was taking all the way. So now the count is 3 balls and 1 strike. Sonny Jackson coaching at third. Former Giant infielder Robbie Thompson on the lines at first base. Let's have a 2-0 lead, somewhat in jeopardy here. A runner on third and 1 man down. The 3-1 pitch. He held on the swing. It's low, ball 4. There's the first walk given up by Bobby Jones. So now the Giants have the tying runs on base. And they have Rich Aurelia coming to the plate. Aurelia is 2 for 13 in the series. He's a shortstop who can hit. Aurelia is a New Yorker. And he hits with pop in that bat. He has 20 home runs. Now Bobby Jones, for the first time today, has to try and work his way out of a jam. Runners on first and third and 1 man away. Bobby will try to get that ground ball. Swing and a miss. Oh, what a curveball that was by Bobby Jones.
Well, Aurelia has been very susceptible to the curveball so far. He popped up on that curve his first time up, so Bobby's going to go back to that during this at-bat. And Aurelia is a guy who grounds into a lot of double plays, 15 of them this year.
So Bobby will try to get him to hit a breaking ball. He hit that breaking ball more times than not. It's going to be a ground ball. First and third and 1 man away. That's with a 2-0 lead. We're playing in the 5th inning. And a fake to third and no throw to first. Bobby Jones trying to find out if anything is on. The on-deck batter is Doug Mirabelli, the catcher. Mirabelli, a right-hand hitter. Now Bobby Jones will eye the runner at third base. Now the pitch. Fastball, a strike called. And a 2-strike count on Rich Aurelia. Boy, the crowd got a kick out of that. Now many of the fans are getting up, hoping they can help Bobby Jones to strike out the hitter. Runners on first and third. Jeff Kent is on third. J.T. Snow is on first. And the pitch on the way just missed. He almost had him struck out. 1 ball, 2 strikes. If he can strike this hitter out, he then would have a good chance to get through the inning without being scored on. Kent led off the inning with a double down the left field line. Ellis Burks fly to the warning track in right field. So J.T. Snow reached on a walk. Pitching 1-2. Foul ball, he just got a piece of it. He lunged at a curveball that was way outside. So he got him to chase a bad pitch that time. Fouls it off, and the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Aurelia hit .271 during the regular season. 20 home runs, 79 runs batted in. Crowd raising the noise level now. Let's have the infield at double play depth. And the pitch. High fly ball hit down the left field line. Not too deep, but probably deep enough for a run to score. Agbayani makes the catch. The runner will not try to score. Not deep enough. So now first and third and 2 down. Agbayani made the catch. He was not deep enough for Sonny Jackson to send the runner, Jeff Kent.
And not only that, but Benny made a terrific throw, kept it low so that Ventura could cut it off, and that kept the runner at first, Snow, from thinking about going to second. That's executed extremely well on that play.
Now the catcher, Doug Mirabelli, is the batter. Mirabelli, a .230 hitter during the season, was called out on strikes his first time at bat today. Mets 2 and Giants nothing. We're playing the top of the 5th inning. Bobby Jones has one more big out to get to try and keep the Giants off the scoreboard. Mirabelli standing in. Cowtails the batter around. Now cocks it. Fastball high. 1 ball and no strikes. Jay Payton playing a stride to left center. Bobby Jones, 4-4 lifetime against San Francisco. This is the first time this year that Bobby has faced the Giants. Mirabelli waiting now on right-hander Bobby Jones. And the pitch. High and away, ball 2. A walk would load the bases and bring up Mark Gardner, the pitcher. Bobby would love to get this hitter out. You get the hitter out, then the pitcher leads off the next inning, and that's always a plus for you. Now the count, 2 balls and no strikes on Mirabelli. Alfonso and Mike Bordy. Maybe a step to left.
Boy, it'd be a real crusher for the Giants not to get a run here. After the leadoff double by Kent, a little life sparked into them. If Jones can get out of this, boy, the Giants would really be deflated.
That ball that Burks hit deep to right field to the warning track was caught by Timo Perez, and that was a big one for New York. And the pitch on the way, too high, and he falls behind him. 3 balls and no strikes. Well, the last thing Bobby wanted to do was walk this hitter.
And yet he knows he can pitch carefully here because you've got the pitcher on deck, and I don't think Dusty Baker would even think about hitting for Gardner at this point.
Glendon Rush is up in the bullpen now for New York. 3 balls and no strikes on Mirabelli. Runners on first and third and 2 men away. The pitch by Bobby. Down the middle for a called strike. 3 balls and 1 strike. He does not want to walk him. Even though the pitcher comes up next, he'd like to get this guy out and have the pitcher leading off in the next inning. So Bobby Jones with a count of 3-1 on Doug Mirabelli. Mets 2-0 lead, somewhat in jeopardy. Bobby Jones eyeing the runner at third. Now the pitch. He walked him and the bases are loaded. Second walk of the inning by Bobby Jones. Now the bases are loaded. And the pitcher, Mark Gardner, is due to bat. And Gardner is going to hit.
And too early in the game for Dusty Baker to be that desperate. Gardner's been pitching well. He's not going to pull him out here. Bobby Jones pitching with a cushion to Mirabelli. Now he's got to get Gardner out.
So Jeff Kent is on third. J.T. Snow on second and Doug Mirabelli on first. 2 men away in the visiting 5th inning. From the stretch, Bobby Jones. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Bobby has walked 2 and struck out 4. Allowed no runs and only 1 hit at this point. So Mark Gardner standing in. Gardner not the strongest of hitters as a pitcher. Now the pitch on the way, take it high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Gardner has a batting average of 116. 5 hits in 44 times at bat. Now 3 runners take a lead for San Francisco. 1-1 the count on Gardner. And a high pop-up should retire the side. Alfonso is under it, and the inning is over. No runs. 1 hit, 3 were left on base. Now we're halfway, midway in the 5th inning. The Mets 2 and the Giants nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. Mike Bordick, the number 8 hitter, leads off for the Mets in the home 5th inning. Quality Counts. The United Association of Plumbers, Pipe Fitters, and Sprinkler Fitters do the job right the first time. Visit their website at ua.org. So it's time for the U.S. Airways home run flyaway inning. Today's contestant, Sally Gear from Manhattan. If a Met hits a home run in this inning, Sally will receive 2 tickets to anywhere U.S. Airways flies in the continental U.S. Shortstop Mike Bordick facing Mark Gardner. And it's over at the letters, strike 1 call. Bordick grounded out to short his first time at bat. 2 for 10 in the series, and a bouncer hit towards shortstop, charged by Aurelia. The throw got him at first base. Chopper hit towards shortstop, run down by Rich Aurelia, and he throws out Mike Bordick. 1 out and nobody on. We pause for station identification on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
The Jets fall from the ranks of the unbeaten, falling to the Steelers 20-3. The Giants lead the Falcons in the third, 13-3. Stay tuned for the Yanks and A's next on WFAN New York.
Bob Murphy with Gary Cohen, 2-0 New York. Last half of the 5th inning. Bobby Jones bats for the second time. Bobby was called out on strikes in the third. And the pitch to Bobby, swing out of his strike 1. Pretty good fastball. At 88 miles per hour thrown by Mark Gardner. He won't throw much harder than that. But 88 is certainly a major league fastball. And in the right location, it really does the job. Foul ball, back on the screen, strike 2. Mets 2 runs, 2 hits. The Giants no runs and 1 hit. About 2 innings from now, if the score is still this way, this game will really become full of tension. Grounder foul down the third baseline, no play.
There'll be a lot more tension for the Giants. They're playing with desperation here today. Their season ends if they don't win.
That's very true. Mets are going all out, wanting to win it today, obviously, and avoid that long trip to California.
Well, the Giants look to be in command of the series after winning Game 1, Dusty Baker's first ever postseason win, but boy, the Mets played with great heart the last few days.
Winning in 10 innings and then winning in 13 innings. Wild swing and a miss on a ball in the dirt. Bobby Jones running to first. The throw, not in time. Bobby Jones is on first. Bobby Jones struck out on a breaking ball in the dirt that squirted away from Doug Mirabelli, and alertly Bobby Jones took off on the run, and he got there.
That ball hit the umpire's foot and changed direction, and Mirabelli couldn't find it. It was going to go behind him, and he was chasing it toward the backstop, but it hit the foot of Brian Gorman and carried off to the third base side, and that's why Bobby Jones, who is not fleet by any means, was able to get to first base well ahead of the throw.
So the Mets have a base runner. Score that a strikeout on a wild pitch. So Bobby Jones is safe at first base, and Timo Perez is the batter. Timo has struck out and fouled out. He's 0-for-2. Batting left-handed against the right-hander, Mark Gardner. Now the pitch on the way. That's high outside. 1 ball and no strikes.
The only problem with having Bobby Jones on first base, it might take 3 hits to score him.
It might take some of his energy away, too. Yeah, Bobby is not a speedster. But he did the right thing. He was very alert and took off as hard as he could go to first base. And he wound up getting there. Right-hander Mark Gardner delivers to the plate. Timo bluffs in a bunt. And the pitch out of the strike zone. 2 balls and no strikes.
We haven't seen Timo try his run up in the box and slap at the ball maneuver in this series.
He probably will before it's over.
He's got a lot of different maneuvers. He'll use the swinging bunt, he'll use the drag bunt, and he's also got surprising pop for a little guy.
Bobby Jones on first and 1 man away. Pitch outside, ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes. Now a walk would put a runner in the scoring position. The on-deck hitter is Edgardo Alfonso, as good as the Mets have with runners in scoring position. Edgardo ranked among the leaders of the National League all season in getting base hits with runners in scoring position. 3-0 pitch. Call strike is 3-1. Mark Gardner will not walk very many. He walks only about 1.9 per 9 innings. So there's no guarantee there's going to be a walk right here. 3-1 to Timo Perez. Timo has 4 hits in 15 at-bats in the postseason. Now the pitch. He runs up as though the bunt. The pitch is over for a strike. Timo ran up and bluffed the bunt that time, and the pitch was a strike. So now the count is 3-2.
I don't think he had any intention of bunting on 3-1. I think he was just planning to take a pitch.
Yeah, I think so too.
We did see him lay down a bunt on a 3-2 pitch, and that's something you almost never see.
Now the count is 3-2 on Timo Perez. Bobby Jones on first base with 1 man away. Last of the 5th inning, 2-0 New York. Mark Gardner off the stretch. And the pitch on the way on a line drive hit hard down the right field line. That's a base hit going into the right field corner. Bobby Jones will be held at third. Perez has a double. Timo Perez hit the daylight out of that. Screaming line drive down the right field line and into the right field corner. Cookie Rojas holding up Bobby Jones at third. Oh, wow, that ball was really hit, Gary.
Well, Jones was running on the 3-2 pitch, and Cookie had a notion for a moment about sending Jones home. Ellis Burstow handled the ball pretty well coming off the wall in the right field corner, and so Cookie stopped waving and put up the stop sign. Jones, as we mentioned earlier, not particularly fast, and you don't want to get your pitcher hurt on a play like that as well. So Cookie decided discretion the better part of valor. He's got the big hitters coming up. Stopped him at third base.
Huge situation right here for the Mets. A base hit could drive 2 runs across the plate, especially with the speedy Perez at second base. The hitter is Edgardo Alfonso. Fonzie is 0 for 2. And the pitch way inside. 1 ball and no strikes.
And Dusty Baker gets his bullpen going. Doug Henry and Alan Embry begin to warm up.
Both of those pitchers worked in the long game yesterday.
Is there anybody on either team who did?
I was going to say that will be true of just about anybody that comes in. 1 ball, no strikes to Edgardo Alfonso. It's 2-0. A base hit could make it 4-0. Now the pitch. Outside and low, a curveball missing. 2 balls and no strikes. That ball hit by Timo Perez. You don't hit a baseball much harder than that. It was a scorched line drive going into the right field corner. Former Met Doug Henry, left-hander Alan Embry. Up in the bullpen for San Francisco. Now Mark Gardner checking things out with Doug Mirabelli. Here's the pitch. Swung on, fouled off, no play. Back into the big crowd here at Shea Stadium. The crowd yesterday was over 56,000, and I imagine it's about the same today. At least all of the tickets have been sold. 2 balls and a strike on Edgardo Alfonso, with Mike Piazza waiting to bat next. Mets would love to increase their lead. Now the pitch. Swung on, fouled off, no play. That evens the count at 2-2 on Fonzie. Edgardo Alfonso batted .324 during the season. Fonzie is 4 for 16 in the postseason.
Dusty Baker backs up his second baseman and shortstop a couple of steps. He knows how slow Bobby Jones is, so on a ground ball to second and short, they can get a little more fielding depth.
Yeah, they might very well bring the ball home the way they're positioned.
Absolutely.
2-2 on Edgardo Alfonso. Mets at least want to get 1 run out of this. And the pitch on the way. Look out, way up high. Ball 3. Full count, 3-2. The Mets 2 runs on 3 hits. The Giants no runs on 1 hit.
Gardner trying to get a little extra pop on that fastball, but he lost his command of it trying to throw it too hard. Threw it at 90 miles an hour. That's as fast as he can possibly throw.
Yeah, he doesn't throw any harder than that. Mets trying to make it 3 in a row over the San Francisco Giants, the team with the best record in the major leagues. 3-2 now on Edgardo Alfonzo. The stretch by Mark Gardner. The pitch. Foul ball back, no play. Just got the bat on that. Bobby Jones, who struck out and raced to first base and beat the throw. He struck out on a curveball in the dirt. And then came a double by Timo Perez. Boy, Perez has been terrific so far in the postseason. He now has 5 hits. 3-2 on Edgardo Alfonzo. Mark Gardner is into the stretch. He checks the runner at third. The pitch, foul back, no play. And the battle goes on. Fonzie is so good at fouling those pitches off. Mark Gardner, a 38-year-old right-hander who still throws the fastball very well. He'll get it up to 88, 89, even 90 miles per hour. The last thing the Mets want here is a strikeout. Fonzie about as good as the Mets have with runners in scoring position. The infield and the outfield are straight away. A little deeper at second and short now. Here's the pitch. Swung on, hit in the air to deep center field. It'll score a run. It's a base hit over the head of Marvin Bernard. Jones will score. Perez will score. The Mets have a 4-0 lead. Hit over the head of Marvin Bernard by Edgardo Alfonzo. A double to deep center field. And now the Mets have a 4-run lead. Well, you never know what will start a rally, Gary. This rally started when Bobby Jones struck out on a breaking ball in the dirt and made it to first base.
Well, those are those little things that have been going right for the Mets the last few days. Yesterday, Lenny Harris beating out the back end of a double play on what was a controversial call, stealing a base, scoring the tying run. Edgardo Alfonzo hit the tar out of that ball. He really ripped that ball to center field. Marvin Bernard was playing deep, but he couldn't get over to left center fast enough to cut it off. And Alfonzo has himself another big base hit.
Dave Righetti, the pitching coach, Rags as he was so affectionately known in New York, goes to the mound now to have a word with Mark Gardner. Giants have warm-up duty in their bullpen. They have Bucky Davey has a left-hander and a right-hander warmed up and ready.
Well, you would figure if they're going to make a change that they would walk Piazza here and bring in the left-hander to face Ventura. That would be the conventional strategy. I don't know whether that's what they're anticipating or not, but they've gone a long way with Gardner here in the 5th inning. I thought maybe after the double by Perez that they might pull him right there, but they're staying right with Gardner. Oh, now they're going to make a change.
Yeah, they are going to make a change. So Mike Piazza is coming up. Chances are, since first base is open, that Piazza will be intentionally walked. So we get a break in the action here, a pitching change being made. We'll be back in just a moment on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. Doug Henry, the veteran right-hander, is on in relief. This will be his 3rd appearance in the postseason this year. He was already relieved in 2 of 3. Worked an inning and 2/3 in yesterday's long ball game. So Doug Henry is now the pitcher. Mike Piazza coming up, but first base is open. I doubt very much that they'll pitch to Mike Piazza.
Well, you would have thought, though, that if they were going to walk Piazza, that they would have brought the left-hander in the game to pitch to Ventura. So maybe they will pitch to Piazza.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. Doug Henry is 3-1 since being traded to the Giants with a 2.49 earned run average. Piazza standing in with a runner, Edgardo Alfonzo, on second. The Mets now have a 4-0 lead in the last half of the 5th inning. So now Doug Henry is ready to go to work. Piazza cocks the bat. They're going to pitch to him on a breaking ball outside and low. Slider thrown by Doug Henry. 1 ball and no strikes to Mike Piazza. Piazza has walked and scored a run and fly deep to right field. Let's have 4 runs on 4 hits. Doug Henry checks the runner at second. And the pitch. Foul ball hit down the 3rd baseline. That is out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. So the Mets have chased the veteran starting pitcher, Mark Gardner. Now they will try to inflict some damage on veteran right-hander Doug Henry, one-time member of the New York Mets pitching staff. Henry has good stuff. Mets are playing him straight away. Or the Giants are playing straight away. And the pitch on the way. Swung on and hit high into the air. Not very deep in center field. Marvin Bernard is under it waiting. Bernard makes the catch. So Piazza has flied to center. To the plate will come Robin Ventura.
Number 4.
So Dusty Baker took a chance. Pitch to Mike Piazza, and it worked out well for him. He got him out. Robin Ventura put the Mets into a 2-0 lead in the first inning of the game with a terrific home run over the right field wall. It was really well hit. If the Mets can win today, they win the wild card and they'll be going to St. Louis. They'll fly to St. Louis on Tuesday and play the Cardinals on Wednesday night in St. Louis. Now Doug Henry chasing the runner, Alfonso back to second.
They're going to walk Ventura intentionally now, which is a little surprising considering the way Agbayani's been swinging the bat.
Yeah, he hit the game-winning home run of the 13th inning yesterday. So now Ventura will draw his second walk of the game. He'll have a home run and 2 walks. And the crowd is already starting to chant, Benny Agbayani, a crowd favorite. There's ball 4, served outside intentionally.
Well, Henry's already faced Agbayani twice in the series. He walked him in game 2, got him out on a ground ball in game 3.
Now here comes Benny Agbayani. Benny singled to center in the 4th inning. 1 hit and 2 times at bat. Doug Mirabelli, the catcher, walking out in front of the plate, giving signs to the infielders. Benny's home run that won the game in the 13th, a walk-off home run yesterday, was really a well hit. Towering drive hit the left center field into the bleachers. Now here's Benny Agbayani standing in against Doug Henry. Let's have runners on first and second. Edgardo Alfonso on second. Robin Ventura is on first. And the pitch. Fastball strike on the outside corner. Weather has stayed fairly pleasant here this afternoon. About 52 degrees when the game got underway. Probably pretty close to that right now. Veteran right-hander Doug Henry. Looking in to Doug Mirabelli. The Mets runners take a lead from first and second. Swing and a miss. Hard cut by Benny Agbayani. And now Doug Henry has a 2-strike advantage. This rally was started by Bobby Jones. He struck out on a pitch in the dirt. It bounced away from the catcher. Bobby took off running as hard as he could, and he got to first base. Then came a big double by Timo Perez, a line drive shot into the right field corner, followed by an Edgardo Alfonso double that drove 2 runs in. Pitch on the way to Benny. Swung on and a drive in the air to center, playable. Back goes Bernard, reaches down and makes the catch. Boy, he had a tough play to make right there. That ball is hit hard by Benny Agbayani. But the inning is over. 2 runs. There were 2 hits. And 2 men left on. So at the end of 5 at Shea, it's now the Mets 4 and the Giants nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. Tomorrow in Newsday, extra coverage of the Mets and Yanks playoff action. Plus every Monday, read in the business report. So be sure and pick up Newsday tomorrow. Now let's go to the 6th inning with Gary Cohen.
Okay, Bob, now the Mets have a 4-0 lead as they bid for the clincher in this National League Division Series and try and get to the National League Championship Series for the 2nd straight year. Bobby Jones was perfect through the first 4 innings, had to survive trouble in the 5th, the leadoff double by Jeff Kent, but he worked around it as he got the pitcher Mark Gardner to pop up with the bases loaded. And he got his reward as the Mets scored 2 runs in the 5th, rally starting when Jones struck out and reached first base on a wild pitch. Now Marvin Bernard leads off in the top of the 6th. Bernard 0 for 2 in the game and 1 for 12 in the series. Left-hand batter, and he takes on the outside corner, 0-1. Well, it wasn't quite Mickey Owen dropping the third strike from Hugh Casey in the 41 World Series, but the Mets using that strikeout wild pitch to fashion a rally. Swing and a miss at a curveball, 0-2.
Well, you never know what's going to get it going, do you?
Certainly not unprecedented in postseason play. The Yankees winning a game that they had no business winning against the Dodgers in that 41 World Series on just such a play. The 0-2 on the inside corner, strike 3 call. Marvin Bernard down looking. That is 5 strikeouts for Bobby Jones. And we talked about it early in the ballgame that the Giants looked flat. Looked as though they got a little life on the Kent double in the last inning, but the air really came out of their balloon when they didn't score. Now they're behind 4-0, and we'll see whether the Giants have any more fight in them. Bill Miller, the batter, twice is grounded out to the right side. Switch hitter batting left-handed. 4-0 Mets were in the 6th. The pitch by Jones, in at the knees for a strike, 0-1. And Bobby Jones has been magnificent. He's given up just a 1-base hit. That scorching double into the left field corner off the bat of Jeff Kent, leading off the 5th. Kent got as far as 3rd, but was stranded there. The outfield has stepped toward left against Miller. The 0-1 from Jones, missing high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Barry Bonds, who's had a miserable time of it so far today, is standing on deck. Jones has struck Bonds out both times he's faced him. Barry, who came in to the series with a 200 postseason batting average, is hitting 200 in this series. 1-1 pitch, line shot, right center field, moving over Payton, going back. He'll get there, and he makes the catch going away. Payton gets such a good jump on the ball. He was playing over toward left center field. The ball was hit more toward right center. He retreated, moved over, and made it look relatively easy on what was a rather difficult play. 2 out and nobody on, and now here comes Bonds, who has been up all 3 times in this game now with 2 out and nobody on, which is exactly the way you want to see him if you're the Mets. Bonds struck out swinging in the 1st, struck out looking in the 4th. 3 for 15 in this series after getting off to a strong start in Game 1. And a curveball bends in for a strike, 0-1. Bonds had base hits his first 2 times up in Game 1. So since then, he's gone 1 for 13. The infield swung around to the right. The 0-1 pitch and a pop of foul, third base side. Ventura coming over near the photo box, reaching in, but he can't get to it. Lands about 3 rows deep. And a 2-strike count on Barry Bonds. And now the crowd here at Shea Stadium, sensing the moment, rising to its feet, hoping that Jones can strike out Bonds for a 3rd time today. Kirk Wendell staying busy in the bullpen, but Jones not looking like he's going to need a whole lot of help, at least not right now. Piazza sends out a sign. Bobby Jones into the windup. The 0-2 to Bonds, missing outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jeff Kent would be next. The Mets 4 runs and 4 hits. The Giants no runs and 1 hit. We're in the 6th inning. Bonds waving the bat back and forth, choking up from the left side. Jones with a 1-2 pitch, swinging a foul ball back. Bonds got a piece of it and fouled it off. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Barry Bonds, 49 home runs during the regular season. 1 career postseason home runs in 95 at-bats. Jones blowing on his pitching hand from the first base side of the rubber. 1-2 to Bonds. Just missed the outside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Shortstop Bordick playing just a step to the left of second base. Alfonso well over in the hole on the right side and back on the outfield grass. They're deep and around to right in the outfield. 2-2 to Bonds. Curveball and a high fly ball to left field. Fairly deep, but playable for Agbayani. He's under it. Short of the track, he makes the catch. Bonds retired for the 3rd straight time, and Bobby Jones gets him out 1, 2, 3 in the 6th inning. Nothing across, middle of the 6th at Shea in Game 4. It's the Mets 4, the Giants nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. Right now, let's pause for station identification on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Vinny Testaverde heard on the Jets' first play, and the Jets lose to Pittsburgh 20-3. 3rd quarter in Atlanta. Giants lead the Falcons 13-6. After the Mets, it's the Yankees and A's on WFAN New York.
to the strains of the Ramones, I Want to Be Sedated. Gary Cohen, Bob Murphy with you from Shea Stadium in New York. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning in Game 4 of the National League Division Series. The Mets leading the Giants 4-0, looking to wrap things up. Bobby Jones has been masterful on the mound, allowing just one hit over the first 6 innings. And the Mets got early offense from Robin Ventura, a 2-run homer in the first, and Gardo Alfonso, a 2-run double in the 5th. And now Jay Payton leads off the home 6th inning against former Met Doug Henry. And the pitch on the way, fastball, line drive, base hit going into center field. Payton is swinging at the first pitch he sees from Doug Henry. The lines run right back through the box. And the Mets have a leadoff base runner in the 6th inning. First time in the ball game, the Mets have had the leadoff man on. 5 hits now for New York.
Number 9.
That's just
Todd
Payton's
Zeile.
3rd hit in 16 at-bats in this series. And now here's Todd Zeile. Zeile is 0 for 2 in this game. He was robbed of a base hit by Jeff Kent, who made a great diving stop behind the bag at second and threw out Zeile, saving a run in the process. Zeile just 1 for 13 in the series. Kent and Aurelia set up a double play death. Payton being held on by Snow at first. The outfield a step to right. And a toss to first, and Payton goes diving back in. The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by Foxwoods Resort Casino, the wonder of it all. The Yankees in Oakland, a little over 2 hours from starting out at the Oakland Coliseum. 5th and deciding game of that series. Andy Pettit and Gil Heredia, the starting pitchers. The Yankees have twice played a Game 5 in the American League Division Series and have lost both times, in 95 to Seattle and in 97 to Cleveland. The pitch coming to Zeile, swing and a miss late on the fastball, 0-1. Those are the only 2 times since the division series began in 1995 that the Yankees have not made it to the World Series. And they face another Game 5 today. Both the pitchers for that Game 5 traveled ahead. Heredia and Pettit both left early yesterday, with the Yankees and A's playing a night game at the stadium last night and then flying overnight to Oakland for today's 5th game. Henry fires to first. The Mets gave Mike Hampton the same option. Hampton would be the Mets' Game 5 starter tomorrow in San Francisco, but with the Mets playing 4 hours earlier than the Yankees did yesterday, Hampton opted to stay with the ball club. And he will fly tonight if the Mets lose this game. Right now, they lead it 4-0, trying to take away the possibility of that return trip to San Francisco. 0-1 to Zeile. Henry fires, hit hard over third, a foul ball. Got around a little bit too early on that one. Might have broken his bat. He's inspecting it for damage. And a 2-strike count on Todd Zeile with Mike Bordick on deck. If the Mets win today, they'll begin the League Championship Series in St. Louis on Wednesday night. Games 1 and 2 at Busch Stadium Wednesday night and Thursday night. And then back here at Shea for games 3, 4, and 5 next Saturday afternoon, Sunday night, and Monday night. And tickets for the Mets home games in the League Championship Series would go on sale by phone on Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. 0-2 to Zeile with Payton at first and nobody out. Henry off the stretch delivers. Low and away with a slider. 1 ball and 2 strikes. System for sale of League Championship Series tickets would be the same as it was for the Division Series. By telephone, 718-507-TIXX. Each fan may purchase a maximum of 12 tickets for the series. Tickets would be priced mostly at $50 to $70. That would be Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. They would go on sale. Throw to first, not in time, but first the Mets must take care of business here. They have a 4-0 lead as we play in the bottom of the 6th inning. Lights have taken effect now as darkness approaches. Still some daylight left, but field being illuminated by the lights that have been on right since the start of the game. The 1-2 to Zeile. Punch foul back into the crowd. Zeile reaching across the plate for an outside pitch and fighting it off. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mike Bordick standing on deck. Now Payton takes a short lead off first base. 36-year-old Doug Henry working from the third base side of the rubber. Mirabelli sets up outside. 1-2 to Zeile. Popped it up foul coming back toward the crowd, and that'll be out of play. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Mets, with the win last night, now have an all-time postseason record of 31 wins and 22 losses. That's a .585 winning percentage, and it's the 3rd highest winning percentage for any team in postseason play. The 2nd highest winning percentage belongs to the New York Yankees. They have a .615 winning percentage all time. Do you know who's first? Throw to first, not in time. It's a team that only has made it to the postseason once, but they had an enormously successful run. The Florida Marlins, 11-5 in the 1997 postseason. That is a .688 winning percentage, and that's the best in history for any team that's participated in postseason play. It's kind of a quirk, but it's the truth. Zeal waits. 1-2 from Henry, swinging a foul ball off the helmet of the catcher Mirabelli, and it bounds up into the crowd. Of course, the Marlins are 11-5. The Yankees in postseason play, 163 wins and 102 losses. So while they may not have the win total, the Marlins do have the percentage. They're first, the Yankees are second, and the Mets are 3rd all-time in postseason winning percentage. Zeal with a long turn at bat here. Henry working deliberately. Payton leads from first. 1-2, runner goes. It's a pitch out. Mirabelli's thrown to second base on the money, and Payton's tagged out by Aurelio. So they guessed that Payton would be running, and he was. They pitched out. First time in the series that the Giants have pitched out. I don't know if they stole a sign or just guessed right, but Payton is gunned down. 2-6 on the caught stealing. And now it's a 2-2 count to Zeal with 1 out and nobody on. A little odd that they would guess in just that spot that Payton would run on the 4th 1-2 pitch to Zeal. He had not been running previously, but he was going that time. So maybe a sign stolen. 2-2 to Zeal in the dirt, blocked by Mirabelli, and the full count to Zeal, 3-2. Henry came out in the 5th inning for Mark Gardner after the 2-run double by Alfonso. Gardner threw 71 pitches over 4 1/3 innings, allowed 4 runs and 4 hits. He walked 2, struck out 5, threw a wild pitch. That was on the strikeout of Bobby Jones, and that certainly hurt Gardner. And Mark Gardner allowed 1 home run, the shot by Ventura back in the 1st. Henry out of the windup. 3-2 pitch to Zeal. Slider outside, ball 4, and the Mets have a 1-out base runner. So after a 9-pitch at bat, Zeal has drawn a walk. Second walk given up by Henry. The first was intentional. 1 out and 1 on, and Mike Bordick will come up. The official New York Mets clubhouse shops have the largest selection of Mets apparel and gifts. Visit the newest location at 11 West 42nd Street between 5th and 6th Avenues to get official Mets wild card merchandise. Or get it at any of the other Mets clubhouse shops located in the Menlo Park Mall in Edison, the Roosevelt Field Mall in Garden City, and the flagship store on 54th Street off Lexington Avenue in Manhattan. Bordick 0 for 2 in the game, twice is grounded to short, and he takes inside from Henry, 1 ball and no strikes. Bobby Jones is out on deck. Bobby has thrown only 91 pitches through 6 innings, so he'll get at least 1 more crack at the Giants, and maybe more. Mets working with a 4-0 lead, and Jones has been a huge part of that story. Questionable whether he would get the call for Game 4. He did, and he has responded in big-time fashion. 1 hit allowed over the first 6 innings of the game. Giants had 1 threat in the 5th, a leadoff double by Kent. They loaded the bases, but Jones was able to get out of it, and that's the only inning in which he has allowed a base runner. 1-0 the count to Bordick, and Henry fires to first, and that chases Zeal back to the bag. Bordick looking down at Cookie Rojas, who is wearing gloves in the third base coaching box, as is Mookie Wilson over at first, as are most of the base umpires. It's a cool day here at Shea. Not as cold as they had predicted. Probably will be a little more frigid as the day goes along and into early evening. But right now, not intolerable by any means. And a throw to first, and low throw handled by Snow. Zeal gets back. Certainly the Mets hope to be playing in even colder weather before they get done for the season, because that will mean they will have battled deep into the postseason.
They could get almost to November.
Of course, when you play in the World Series nowadays, every game is at night. If the Mets get to the World Series, they would have the 3 midweek games. Those things are decided in advance. This year, the American League hosts the first 2 in the last. And for a strike, good pitch by Henry. 1 ball, 1 strike. all the other series now leading up to the World Series, the Division Series and the League Championship Series, are decided in terms of the team with the better record as to who gets the home field advantage. Not the World Series. That's done on a rotating basis. This year, the American League gets the first two. Next year, it'll be the National League. 1-1 to Bordick. Snow holding against Zeal at first. The infield at double play depth. Now Henry delivers. Slider holding the swing. Bordick, did he go? They check at first. No swing. Rocky Rowe with the call. 2 balls and a strike to Bordick. 4-0 New York. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. Quiet moment for the crowd here at Shea. They are waiting for a celebration. Mets have not had too many postseason wins here at Shea the last couple of seasons that have not been decided very late in the day. They had the one win against Arizona last year that was a blowout win, 9-2. Every other win here at Shea has been right down to the nub. 2-1 to Bordick and a high foul ball off to the left out of play. Last year, after winning that Game 3 against Arizona in lopsided fashion, they clinched the series in Game 4 on the 10th inning home run by Pratt. And then the home games against Atlanta, they lost Game 3. They took Game 4 on the 8th inning single by John Olerud off Ozzie Guillen's glove against John Rocker that brought the Mets from behind to a win. That was a final turn-at-bat win. And then the classic Game 5 against Atlanta that they won in the 15th inning on the Ventura Grand Slam single. And then the game last night. The 2-2 pitch to Bordick, low and away 3-2. So the Mets have had a habit of winning these postseason battles at Shea in 1999 and 2000, but not doing it until the very last moment. So it's a little different feeling in the ballpark right now with the Mets sitting with a 4-0 lead. Trying to expand on it here in the 6th. Bordick at the plate with a 3-2 count. Let's see if Zeal is running here with one out. The pitcher Jones is on deck. Doug Henry working deliberately. Comes to the chest with his hands. Zeal runs. 3-2 pitch. Bounced foul toward the backstop, and they'll do it again. Well, Zeal had a long turn at bat. 9 pitches before drawing a walk. And now Bordick with a long turn at bat as well against the former Met Doug Henry. Doug spent 2 years with the Mets in 95 and 96. They were not particularly happy years for the Mets. It was before they turned things around with the arrival of Bobby Valentine late in the 1996 season. The next year, the Mets began their renaissance. 88 wins in 1997, 88 more in 98, 97 wins last year, and 94 this year. But a very successful 4-year run. The 3-2 to Bordick. Runner goes. Check swing foul ball over toward the Mets dugout on the first base side. And again, Zeal will come back. 2 years ago, the Mets were right on the verge of the postseason. Lost their last 5 games and lost out on the final day. Last year, they had to go past the final day to clinch the wild card. Won the division series, but lost in the league championship series. This year, clinched the wild card with a few days to spare. And again, trying to get to that league championship series and take that next step into the biggest postseason bash of them all.
They don't have to go through Atlanta this year.
3-2 the count to Bordick. Open batting stance, bat held up high. Zeal was running the last 2 pitches. He runs again. The pitch and a high fly ball along the left field line. Long run in for Bonds. He may not get there, but he does, and he makes the catch. Bonds, who covers a lot of ground quickly, came in toward the left field line to catch that fly ball by Bordick. Zeal returns to first. Now they're 2 away, and the pitcher Jones will come up. It's a commitment to quality that wins games, a determination to do things right. And Amoco, that's our focus too. No matter which team you're on, we'll give you the very best. And a very nice hand for Bobby Jones as he comes to the plate. As we mentioned earlier, it was by no means a cinch that Bobby Jones was going to be the starter for Game 4 when this series began. With the Giants vulnerable to left-handed pitching, there was plenty of talk of Glendon Rush. And after Game 1, there was talk of Mike Hampton coming back in Game 4, particularly after Hampton threw only 73 pitches. But Bobby Valentine named Jones as his Game 4 starter, stuck with the plan, and it has been a very good plan to date.
Gary, the Mets will really be well rested with their starting pitchers if they can win here today. Zeal is on first with 2 out. Jones 0 for 2 in the game, but
Even though he struck out twice, one of those 2 strikeouts got a Mets rally started when the ball got away from Mirabelli and Jones reached first. The pitch taken low, 1 ball, no strikes. When Jones struck out on a breaking ball in the dirt against Mark Gardner, the ball trickled behind Mirabelli. He was all set to chase it and might have thrown Jones out, but the ball hit the foot of the umpire, redirected. Mirabelli couldn't find it, and the slow-footed Bobby Jones was able to reach. The 1-0 pitch, low and outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Timo Perez followed with a hit-and-run double, and with runners in scoring position, Edgardo Alfonso blasted a double to center field to get 2 runs home and give the Mets some breathing room to make it 4-0. 2-0 the count to Bobby. Henry delivers. Fastball knee high for a strike, 2-1. Bobby Jones probably deserves this outing and this success today as much as anybody on this ball club. He was around for the bad days of the Mets. First came up in 1993. 2-1 pitch in the dirt, 3-1. And for some really awful Met teams in 94 and 95, he was the best pitcher on that staff. Went 12-7 in 1994, 10-10 in 95, 12-8 in 1996. Winning records for teams that had losing records. Didn't enjoy much of the success the Mets had last year because he was hurt most of the season. 3-1 to Jones, right down the middle, 3-2. This year got off to a horrendous start, and it looked like his career was just about finished. Took a voluntary assignment to the minor leagues, got himself righted, and his comeback story the second half of this year has been something special, culminating in this outing so far this afternoon and into the evening. 3-2, Zeal will be going. 3-2 to Jones. Ground ball past the mound toward the middle of the diamond. Kent runs it down. The off-balance throw in time to get Jones, and that retires the side. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. 6 in the books in Game 4. It's the Mets 4, the Giants nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Sports Radio 66 WFAN.
Through 6 innings here at Shea in Game 4. The Giants, no runs, 1 hit, and no errors. The Mets, 4 runs, 5 hits, and no errors. Bobby Jones will face Jeff Kent leading off in the 7th inning. Kent has the only Giants hit, a screaming double down the left field line leading off the 5th inning. But Jones was able to strand him, and that's the only inning in which the Giants have had base runners. Dennis Cook is loose sitting in the Mets bullpen as we start the 7th inning. Jones has thrown 91 pitches through 6 innings. He's walked 2, struck out 5, and given up just that lonely base hit to Jeff Kent. Tomorrow in Newsday, extra coverage of the Mets and Yankees playoff action. Plus, every Monday, read the business report for the most up-to-date information affecting your business. Pick up Newsday tomorrow. Well, the Giants starting to run out of time after posting the best record in the major leagues this year with 97 wins and putting together a fabulous run over the last 4 months of the season. The Giants, after having their hearts broken last night and the night before, now have their backs against the wall. The Mets are 9 outs away from clinching this series. Jeff Kent grounded to second base and doubled down the left field line, 1 for 2. The outfield a couple of steps toward left against the power-hitting Kent. Bobby Jones starts the 7th inning. Pitch on the way. Ground ball hit to third. 2-hopper handled by Ventura to his left. Fires to first in time. 1 man down. Ventura picking up a short hop on the second bounce, reaching out to his left. And on 1 pitch, Bobby Jones has the first out in the 7th inning. It'll bring up Ellis Burks. And the fact that Jeff Kent would go up there with his team 4 runs down in the 7th inning and swing at the first pitch tells you a lot about the life that has been taken out of this Giants team. They're not looking to get on base. They're just going up there hacking right now, not really executing a game plan. And it may be that last night's loss took more out of the Giants than we'll ever know. Burks is 0 for 2. Fly deep to right his last trip. Swings and misses at the first pitch. Actually fouled it off the shin guard of Piazza, 0-1. And again, Burks, like Kent before him, going up there swinging at the first pitch. And that is not really the effective game plan, I'm sure, that Dusty Baker would like. J.T. Snow is the on-deck batter. Bobby Jones going behind the mound, rubbing up at baseball, putting hand to mouth, trying to get a little extra feel for it. Mets were talking last night about how slick the baseball felt as the game went along, as the weather got cooler, and it's cooler tonight than it was last night. pitch taken low by Burks. 1 ball and 1 strike. When the conditions get cold, that ball gets slippery, and a pitcher needs a little moisture, a little friction on the ball to try and get a good grip.
It's getting colder now. The temperature's dropping.
The outfield a couple of steps toward left against Burks, who got off to a very strong start in this series with a 3-run homer off Mike Hampton in Game 1 and an RBI double against Al Leiter in Game 2. The pitch in the dirt, 2 balls and a strike, but Burks has done little since. Now 3 for 12 in the series. 4-0 New York. We're now in the 7th inning. Bobby Jones has gone all the way. Bobby's thrown 95 pitches and still looks strong. Dennis Cook staying ready in the bullpen just in case. You've got a left-hand hitter, J.T. Snow, standing on deck. Wind starting to blow a little harder. The 2-1 to Burks. Swing and a miss. As Bobby Jones threw him a changeup on 2-1, and now he gets even. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And again, the big crowd here at Shea revs it up, pounding their hands together. It has been a memorable performance today for Bobby J. Jones. Bobby has struck out 5. He's walked 2. Burks stands back in him and asks for time. Jones, meanwhile, standing on the rubber, blowing on his hands. On cold days, the umpires will let the pitchers blow on their hand on the mound. 2-2 to Burks, and a high fly ball hit to center field. Routine play for Jay Payton as he follows the wind. He's under it, and Payton makes the grab, 2 men down. So 2 up and 2 set aside by Jones in the 7th. He's now retired 6 in a row. Bobby sidestepped his only problem in the 5th inning after the leadoff double by Kent. Burks hit a long fly ball to right, advancing Kent to third. J.T. Snow drew a walk, but then Richard really hit a fly ball to left, not deep enough to get the run home. Jones pitched carefully to the number 8 hitter, Mirabelli, walked him, and then got the pitcher Gardner to pop up, and the Giants have not had a base runner since. Snow is lined out to first and walked 0 for 1. 2 out and nobody on. And a strike called on the outside corner, 0-1. J.T. Snow 4 for 9 in the series, including that memorable pinch hit 3-run homer against Armando Benitez in the 9th inning of Game 2. The 0-1 to Snow, hit hard on the ground to second base to his left. Alfonso's got it, takes his time, throws to first, side, retired. Alfonso flashing to his left, throws out J.T. Snow, and Bobby Jones does another 1-2-3 inning. He's retired 7 Giants in a row. Nothing across, middle of the 7th at Shea in Game 4. It's the Mets 4, the Giants nothing. The 7th inning stretch is brought to you by the New York Racing Association. Now racing at Belmont Park, Wednesdays through Sundays. Get your heart racing. The WFAN Mets Radio Network salutes the General Contractors Association as the New York Carpenters Labor Management Fund's members of the game. Home 7th inning at Shea, Mets with a 4-0 lead. New pitcher in the game for the Giants, left-hander Alan Embry. Doug Henry went an inning and 2/3 in relief, allowed no runs and 1 hit, walked 2, 1 intentionally, did not strike out a batter. And now the left-hander Embry comes on to pitch the bottom of the 7th, with the Mets sending up left-hand hitting Timo Perez. The Mets 4 runs, 5 hits, and no errors. The Giants no runs, 1 hit, and no errors. Perez 1 for 3, a big double, and he scored a run in the 5th inning. Left-hander against left-hander, Embry deals. Swinging roller towards shortstop. Grabbed by Aurelia. The fire, not in time. He came off the bag. Well, we talked about it earlier in the game. Timo Perez likes to run up in the box and slap the ball, getting a running start toward first, and that's exactly what he did. Slapped one at Aurelia, the shortstop, and Aurelia hurried the throw and threw wide to the home plate side, and Perez reaches first base safely. We'll wait to see how they score it. That is a play that Perez used all year effectively down at Norfolk. We've seen it a couple of times since he came up to the Mets. He starts running and then takes a half swing and then runs like heck to first base. They're going to charge an error on Aurelia, but I'm not sure that Perez wasn't going to beat that ball out anyway.
He would certainly have been close. It takes a lot of talent to execute that play. I don't really know how he can do it.
Here's Edgardo Alfonso, who drove in 2 runs with a double his last time up against the left-hander Embry. The pitch on the way and a high fly ball to center field. Bernard drifting back. He'll get under this one. Looking for it. He's having trouble, and now he makes the catch. Put his hands out as though he didn't see it, but he obviously found it in time, and Alfonso retired for the first out. 1 out and 1 on in the 7th. Mike Piazza coming to the plate. First, we'll pause for station identification on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
The Jets lose Vinny Testaverde on their first play and lose for the first time this season 20-3 to the Steelers. Giants lead the Falcons 13-6 in the fourth quarter. More later on WFAN New York.
Gary Cohen, Bob Murphy with you from Shea Stadium in New York. Game 4 of the National League Division Series. The Mets trying to wrap things up, and they lead the Giants 4-0 as we play the bottom of the 7th inning. Perez at first and 1 out, and Mike Piazza the batter. Mike has walked and scored a run, otherwise 0 for 2. Fly to right and fly to center. Left-hander Alan Embry on the mound. Deals to Piazza. Low and inside with a fastball, 1-0. Embry's been in postseason play before with Cleveland and with Atlanta. Now 30 years of age in his 3rd year with the Giants. He's a hard-throwing left-hander, but pretty much a one-trick pony. He throws mostly fastballs. Faced one batter in the game yesterday and got a big double play grinder from Robin Ventura with the bases loaded. 1-0 to Piazza. Now the pitch. Swinging a foul straight back. Good cut by Mike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ventura waits on deck, and Robin has not been retired today. He got the Mets started with a 2-run homer in the first, and he's been walked his other 2 trips. Mets trying to expand on a 4-0 lead as they bat in the bottom of the 7th. In the outfield, center fielder Bernard shaded several strides toward right center against Piazza. Canton Aurelia stationed at double play depth. Mirabelli sets up outside. The 1-1 to Piazza. Drive in the air to deep right field. Back goes Burks onto the track, reaching out, makes the catch. And back to first base goes Perez. Piazza hit a bolt the other way, and Burks was able to run it down, reaching out halfway back on the warning track in right field. And that's as hard as Mike Piazza has hit a ball in this series. Frustrated, Piazza goes back to the bench, but that's a good sign for the Mets. Piazza driving the ball to the opposite field.
He really drove it, too. Burks is a pretty good outfielder.
2 out and a runner at first, and now here's Ventura. Robin hit his 2nd career postseason home run back in the first inning, a 2-run shot off the advertising at the bottom of the right field scoreboard. 2 out and a runner at first. There goes Perez, the pitch inside, throw to second by Mirabelli, not in time, and Perez has a stolen base. For Timo Perez, who stole only 1 base after joining the Mets in September, that's his first of this series, and he stole it clean off the pitcher Embry. Mirabelli made a good throw, but far too late.
He surprised Aurelia a little bit with that, and Aurelia was slow getting over there to cover.
So 2 out and a runner at second. Ventura, 2 for 13 in the series, but the second hit, a huge one, getting the Mets started quickly in this ballgame. In the outfield, Bernard shaded toward left center against Robin. Perez leads off second base. Embry gives him a glance. Now the 1-0 pitch to Ventura, low and inside, 2 balls and no strikes. Benny Agbayani standing on deck. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, contact your local RE/MAX office. No one in the world sells more real estate than RE/MAX. 4-0 Mets, bottom of the 7th. Mets leading the series 2-1 and trying to avoid another trip west. At least all the way west. The 2-0 to Ventura. Ground ball hit down to first base, grabbed by Snow. He'll take it to the bag himself, and that retires the side. No runs, no hits, an error, and a man left on. 7 in the books now in Game 4. It's the Mets 4, the Giants nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Sports Radio 66 WFAN.
Let's go Mets!
This copyrighted broadcast is presented by the authority of Sterling Doubleday Enterprises solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Sterling Doubleday Enterprises. Well, the Mets are 6 outs away from a trip to St. Louis to start the National League Championship Series on Wednesday night. Bob Murphy, this has been a magnificent performance by Bobby Jones.
I think it's such a fitting tribute the way he has pitched here today. As you mentioned earlier on, he's persevered. He's had a lot of adversity to get through over the years, and he's been better than anybody on the staff for a number of years. The leadoff batter in the 8th inning is Rich Aurelia, the shortstop. Bobby Jones is working on a 1-hit shutout. The veteran right-hander's pitch He bluffs in a bunt, takes high, 1 ball and no strikes. If the Mets are in St. Louis on Wednesday night, Bobby Valentine will have his top 3 starters all well rested. He would not have to use Mike Hampton tomorrow if the Mets could win today. And a fastball strike, 1 ball and strike.
Well, it would certainly lead to the same speculation we had going into the division series. Who gets the ball in game 1? Would it be Leiter or would it be Hampton?
And now John Franco is warming up in the New York Mets bullpen. Yeah, it could be either one. The 1-1 pitch, drive in the air to right field. Hustling in, reaching for it. Perez makes the grab. Tebow with that speed, hustling into very shallow right field to grab the drive for the out. Good play by Tebow Perez. 1 out and nobody on. The out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by Immigrant Savings Bank. When it comes to saving, managing, or borrowing money, you'll do better at Immigrant. And the baseball action tonight, the Yankees are in Oakland, and Dependent will pitch on 3 days rest against Gil Heredia. The winner will move into the League Championship Series to play Seattle. Seattle is the wild card team in the American League. Now, the catcher, Doug Mirabelli, no, check that. Felipe Crespo will be a pinch hitter. Crespo, a left-hand batter, hitting against Bobby Jones. And it's into the air to right field. Timo coming in, plenty of time. Makes the catch, 2 men down. 2 outs and nobody on in the top of the 8th inning. What a marvelous ball game being pitched by Bobby Jones. Now for the San Francisco Giants, Calvin Murray apparently will be the pinch hitter.
He went back in the dugout, and Russ Davis has come out now.
So Russ Davis,
Pinch hitting for the San Francisco Giants.
a right-hand hitter,
Number 18, Russ Davis.
will be standing in.
Dusty has 1 more left-hand hitter on his bench. That's Armando Rios. But he's using Davis here with 2 out and nobody on.
Russ Davis, the one-time New York Yankee, batted .261 during the regular season. Now Davis will stand in against Bobby Jones. Bobby Jones pitching probably the best game of his entire career here this afternoon because of the importance of the ball game. He has now retired the last 9 batters to face him. And standing in now is Russ Davis. Davis at .261 with 9 homers and 24 RBIs during the year. And the pitch on the way, a little bit high, 1 ball and no strikes. The on-deck batter now is Marvin Bedard, the center fielder. Bobby Jones winding, and he fires and misses high, ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes on Russ Davis. Giants will have still another pitcher in the game, with the Mets come on to hit in the last half of the 8th inning. Bobby Jones has retired 9 in a row. Grounder foul, that goes toward the visiting dugout. Bobby Jones pitching a classic. The only hit that Bobby has allowed today was a leadoff double in the 5th inning by Jeff Kent. And since a walk to Doug Mirabelli in the 5th inning, he has retired 9 in a row. That's with a 4-0 lead. We're playing in the 8th inning. The 2-1 pitch. High foul fly down the left field line. That'll be into the seats. But a foul ball, no play. So it's 2-2 now on Russ Davis.
Well, that made it all the way up in the mezzanine.
He hit it a ton, but he was out in front, hit it foul. And now the big crowd here at Shea, they are getting to their feet as the count goes to 2-2 on the hitter.
Now they're chanting Bobby. I don't think we've heard this for Bobby Jones before.
I don't think so either. The 2-2 pitch. Reached for, popped up. It should retire the side. Zeal under it. Todd makes the catch. And the inning is over. Another 1-2-3 inning. 10 in a row retired by Bobby Jones. in the middle of the 8th inning at Shea. The Mets 4 and the Giants nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. We will have a new battery for the Giants for the last of the 8th inning. Miguel Del Toro is now pitching. Young right-hander who's 2-0 with a 5.19 ERA. Made one start this year. Del Toro has had only 17 innings, allowed 17 hits. Bobby Escalera is the catcher. And Benny Agbayani leads off in the last of the 8th inning.
Benny Agbayani.
A one-hit shutout over 8 innings by Bobby Jones. Marvelous game pitched by Bobby. Here's Agbayani standing in against the right-hander. And Del Toro throws a hook. That's over for a call strike. The Mets 4 runs on 5 hits. The Giants no runs on 1 hit. And the pitch. Taken high, 1 ball and 1 strike. How many pitches do you have for Bobby Jones?
Bobby has thrown, 109.
He'll probably come out for the 9th, don't you think?
I would hope so.
Me too.
With a 4-run lead, he can afford to.
The 1-1 pitch. Hit hard, base hit down the left field line for Benny Agbayani. He's around first. Benny on his way to second. Goes into second standing with a 2-base hit. Benny Agbayani continues. That's his second hit of the game. He's 2 for 4. And it brings up Jay Payton. Benny Agbayani is playing like the star of the series. Won yesterday's game with a walk-off home run in the 13th inning. Remember when the season began on opening day in Japan? He hit a grand slam to win a game for the New York Mets. The crowd is just deliriously happy right now. Everybody's standing, everybody cheering. It's not over, but the Mets have a 4-0 lead in the last half of the 8th inning. Jay Payton with 1 hit and 3 times at bat. Mets have 4 runs on 6 hits. The Giants no runs and only 1 hit. A leadoff double in the 5th inning by Jeff Kent. Now Payton standing in against Del Toro. And the pitch on the way is low inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Joe McEwing will check in the game. For the New York Mets. And the pitch on the way. Payton hits it high into the air, fairly deep left field. Drifting back to get under it is Barry Bonds. And Bonds makes the catch for the out.
First baseman, number 9.
Joe McEwing has come in the game as a pinch runner for Benny Agbayani. Joe McEwing is the pinch runner, replacing Benny Agbayani. Benny with 2 hits in the game, a single and a double, 2 for 4. Now the hitter is Todd Zeile. Last of the 8th inning, 4-0 New York. Bobby Jones working on a 1-hit shutout. And the pitch thrown by the right-hander Del Toro is a slider for a strike call. Quality counts. The United Association of Plumbers, Pipe Fitters, and Sprinkler Fitters do the job right the first time. Visit their website at ua.org. Now the pitch. And a slider missing 1 ball and 1 strike.
In 1973, in Game 2 of the National League Championship Series, John Matlack pitched a complete game 2-hit shutout against the Cincinnati Reds, winning 5-0. That is the only complete game shutout in Mets postseason history.
And Bobby Jones will go to the 9th inning with a 1-hit shutout. I remember that game that Matlack pitched. It was a beauty of a ball game. And against the team known as the Big Red Machine, a dynasty-type ball club. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Strike call over the inside corner to Todd Zeile.
Interestingly enough, that was in Cincinnati. The Mets had another shutout, which was not quite a postseason shutout last year, by Al Leiter, also in Cincinnati, in the tiebreaker against the Reds that gave the Mets the wild card. Not considered a postseason game.
Yeah, the Mets had to win that game in order to get in the playoffs. And Al Leiter pitched a magnificent 2-hit shutout. Right now, the catcher, Escalera, has gone to the mound and is talking to Miguel Del Toro. Del Toro is the fourth pitcher used by Dusty Baker. Mets lead 4-0. We're in the last of the 8th inning. In the 9th inning, Marvin Bedard, Bill Miller, and Barry Bonds will be coming up. 1-2 right now on Todd Zeal. McEwing, the pinch runner, is on second. And a swing and a miss. He struck him out. Miguel Del Toro, a young right-hander, strikes out Todd Zeal. Now 2 men away in the home 8th inning.
Mike Bordick.
Mike Bordick will be coming up. Bordick is 0 for 3 this afternoon. The spotlight has been on the pitching of Bobby Jones. Bobby has pitched a lot of good games over the last 7 years for the New York Mets. None as good as this one.
Well, you know, last year we were talking about that Leiter game in Cincinnati, and Leiter talked a lot about the fact that when Edgardo Alfonso had a 2-run homer in the first inning, it gave him the breathing room he needed to pitch a good game. Well, Jones today got that same kind of help from Robin Ventura in the first inning, made him allowed to take a deep breath and get his job done, and he has just been magnificent.
And then later, Edgardo Alfonso would double and drive 2 more runs in and make it a 4-0 ball game. Look out, he's hit by a pitch ball. Bordick caught that one high on the shoulder. So now Bobby Jones will take his turn at bat. You know, Bobby started a 2-run rally back in the 5th inning. He was up with 1 out and nobody on, and he's getting a huge standing ovation. Everybody in the stadium standing and applauding Bobby Jones. I'm sure he's never had an ovation the equal of this one. With 1 out and nobody on in the 5th inning, he struck out on a curveball in the dirt. It bounced away from the catcher. Bobby Jones was alert, took off on the run, and got to first base safely. After that came a double by Timo Perez and a double by Edgardo Alfonso to drive 2 runs in. Those are the 4 runs for the Mets. Ventura's 2-run homer, Alfonso's 2-run double. Now Bobby Jones, the hitter, with runners on first and second. And a swing and a foul ball, no play.
Now, Bobby Jones has never been a particularly appreciated pitcher by fans. He's not an overpowering pitcher. He doesn't knock your eyes out by any means. But this is a guy who's won 74 games in his big league career, lost only 56, mostly for teams that weren't very good because he hasn't benefited that much the last couple of years from the Mets' success. Well, I'll tell you what, he's become a fan favorite in a hurry today.
Considering the terrible first half of the season he had to suffer through, what a magnificent comeback the second half of the year. Takes the pitch inside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Volunteered to go to AAA Norfolk and work on his pitching mechanics. I think everybody had written Bobby pretty much well off at that point. But he came back from Norfolk, took his turn in the rotation, and he's been terrific ever since. The 1-1 pitch, swing and a foul tip, no play. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I'll tell you what, you get to Game 4 against the Cardinals in the League Championship Series, you have every reason to think that Bobby Jones will be back on the mound here at Shea next Sunday.
Absolutely. He certainly has earned that right here this afternoon.
I don't know who goes in Game 1 and Game 2, but Bobby Jones almost certainly will be there in Game 4.
Well, you know the first 3 pitchers will be Hampton, Leiter, and Reed, and then I would guess Bobby Jones certainly would be number 4. 1-2 is the count on Bobby. Swing and a miss, struck him out, and the side retired. Brace yourself for the 9th inning. For the Mets, no runs, 1 hit, 2 men left on. At the end of 8 at Shea Stadium, the Mets 4 and the Giants nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. Huge crowd on hand, 56,245. John Franco starts warming in the bullpen. Bobby Jones, the magnificent Bobby Jones, has allowed only 1 hit. He has retired the last 10 batters to face him. And the leadoff hitter in the 9th inning will be Marvin Bedard. If the Mets win, they're headed to St. Louis, and they'll play the Cardinals on Wednesday night in the League Championship Series. Here's the windup and the pitch. Strike call in the outside corner. Tomorrow at Newsday, extra coverage of the Mets and Yanks playoff action. Plus, every Monday, read the business report for the most up-to-date information affecting your business. Swing and a foul ball to play. Strike 2. Pick up Newsday tomorrow. 4-0, Mets lead. If they can stop the Giants here in the night, they'll be on their way to St. Louis to play for the league championship. And they will have beaten the team with the best record in baseball. And the pitch. High outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, the Mets enjoyed a lot of success against the Cardinals this year early. They won the first 6, but then the Cardinals swept them 3 games the last time they were in St. Louis.
They lost all 3 of those games in their final turn at bat. The 1-2 pitch just missed the inside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bobby Jones bidding for a 1-hit complete game shutout. The Mets win. The Giants are through for the year. They finished the year with the best record in baseball. Count now is 2-2 on Marvin Bernard. John Franco is staying ready in the Mets bullpen.
Bobby Jones has had 4 complete game shutouts in his career, but the last one came back in 1997, so it's been a while.
Bobby has walked only 2 and struck out 5. Now he blows on his pitching hand to get it warm. And the pitch. Ground ball hit down to first. Fair ball. Grabbed by Todd Zeal. Flips the ball to Jones. 1 man down. 1 out and nobody on. Now the number 2 hitter. Switch hitting third baseman Bill Miller. Miller is 0 for 3 in today's ballgame. As mentioned so many times, and it deserves the mention, Bobby Jones has allowed only 1 hit. It was a double leading off in the 5th inning by Jeff Kent. Now Miller is the hitter with Barry Bonds waiting on deck. Here's the windup by Bobby and the pitch. Ground ball past the mound. Moving for it, Fonzie. The throw. Got him. 2 men down. 2 men down. Mets are 1 out away. 12 in a row retired by Bobby Jones. And the hitter is Barry Bonds. Barry has been struck out twice and flied to left. Now the Mets are only 1 out away from clinching a series of the St. Louis Cardinals for the National League flag. Barry Bonds standing in, and they will not have to go back to California. Here's the pitch on the way to Bonds. Fly ball hit the center. Can he run it down? On the run, Payton makes the catch. It's all over. The Mets win it. Jay Payton makes the catch. A 1-hit shutout for Bobby Jones. And they're all racing to the mound and mobbing Jones. What a magnificent game. The Mets have never had a better ball game pitched in their 39-year history. And this game pitched by Bobby Jones. They've never had a no-hitter. That's as close as you can get. A 1-hit shutout. What a performance by Bobby Jones.
Well, it's been 27 years since the Mets had a postseason complete game shutout. You go back to John Matlock against Cincinnati, but that was a game 2 of a best-of-5 series. This was the clincher, and Bobby Jones was not expected to give this kind of performance. He wasn't even expected to be around at midseason. He was a guy who was sent to the minor leagues, his career seemingly at a crossroads, and Bobby Jones turned his season around, turned his career around, and it has reached its pinnacle here at Shea Stadium tonight with a magnificent performance. Bobby Jones retired the side in order in 8 of the 9 innings. He got out of 1 jam in the 5th after Kent's double. You can't be any better than Bobby Jones was here. It's a magnificent performance by a guy who has come out of absolutely nowhere to take center stage.
That's right there with Tom Seaver's near-perfect game when he lost his no-hitter in the 9th inning. Bobby allows 1 hit. That was a double by Jeff Kent, leading off in the 5th inning. In that same inning, he walked 2, the only walks that he gave up. He got out of the jam, and then as Gary mentioned, in 8 of the 9 innings here this afternoon, he did not allow anybody to get on base, and he closed out by retiring the last 13 in a row.
And the emotion from the Mets as they charged out of the dugout as Payton caught that final out was something to behold. They all wanted a piece of Bobby Jones. Here's a guy who was so well liked on this ball club, didn't have a role at all with this team last year as they made their run through the playoffs, and this year has really stepped center stage. Wasn't guaranteed a start of this game by any means, but Bobby Valentine believed in Bobby Jones. Boy, has that belief paid off handsomely today.
So the Mets have won 3 in a row. They have eliminated the San Francisco Giants. They will fly to St. Louis on Tuesday They will play the St. Louis Cardinals on Wednesday night. A jubilant group of New York Mets now finally breaking up the hugging session on the mound and heading toward the dugout. A marvelous win for Bobby Valentine. What a magnificent performance by Bobby Jones for the New York Mets, who won 3 in a row to eliminate the San Francisco Giants.